minutes from the green flag. A look at the starting lineup when we come back to Rockingham on TNT. And now the Walmart starting grid for today's race. Wallace on the front row in the car that Steve Park drove to Victory Lane here in February. Ricky Craven finished 5th here earlier this year. He's also on the front row. It's Casey Atwood hoping to carry over the momentum from last week's great performance in row 2 with Jerry Nadeau, who's got his best ever Rockingham start.
On the inside of row 3, Bobby Hamilton. He was a 97 winner of this race. Dave Blaney on the outside. Felipe Lopez, a new crew chief for him. Dick Trickle, 60 years old, his first start this year on the inside of row 4, alongside Jeff Gordon with 4 wins at this racetrack.
Mark Martin got his first Winston Cup win here back in 1989. He's in row 5 with Tony Stewart. 8 top 10s in the last 9 races. He's hot. Kurt Busch made his Rockingham debut in this race 1 year ago, finished 24th. He's in the 6th row with Ken Schrader, his 34th start here at the Rock.
On the inside of row 7, Joe Nemechek finished 10th here last October, and Michael Waltrip on the outside ran the fewest laps in happy hour yesterday. And on the inside of row 8, Kevin LePage did not qualify for the spring race here, and John Andretti in the 43 car.
9th row, Jimmy Spencer and Sterling Marlin. Spencer's best here at Rockingham, a 4th in 1998. Sterling Marlin finished 8th here in the year's first race back in February. The defending Winston Cup champion, Bobby Labonte, goes from row number 10. Top 3 finishes in 3 of the last 4 Rockingham races. And Mike Wallace finished 2nd at Phoenix last week.
On the inside of row 11 is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Went out of the race on the first lap here in the spring. Now on the outside, Kyle Petty has 3 Rockingham victories. Let's try to talk to Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Yeah, 10-4, Benny, I got you.
All right, Kyle, you've had a lot of success at Rockingham. Is there any magic left with you at Rockingham?
I hope there's some magic somewhere. We've been trying to get the magic back here at Petty Enterprises, but the Sprint Dodge has run pretty good here all week long, and, you know, Buckshot's done good, and hopefully John will be able to do something for everybody at General Mills and the Pop Secret guys today, so hopefully that'll do something for us for Petty Enterprises anyway. We'll try to find a little magic.
Look hard for it, Kyle. Good luck.
Okay, we're going next time by. John.
Kyle Petty going to come from row number 11 today, and look at all the hot shoes at the back of the field. Saw Dale Jarrett come by just a moment ago in the 16th row. Check out row number 19 of this grid.
Ricky Rudd and Jeff Burton. What are you guys doing way back here? There's Johnny Benson, Matt Kenseth. Kenseth has 2 4th-place finishes in the last couple of races.
Got a long way to go to get there, but a lot of folks in the garage this morning thought Matt Kenseth had a great car in final practice yesterday, and he will come toward the front. Only one driver failed to qualify. Rick Mast was not able to make the field. And now less than a lap from the green. Let's go to pit road and get some final stories. Here's Dave Burns.
Alan Dave Blaney starts 6th, and he's got a new title this week, Speedway owner. He bought the Sharon Speedway in Sharon, Pennsylvania, a track that he raced at, and his dad still races there. So now you can call Dave Blaney Mr. Owner as well. Marty?
Well, Dave, let's give a call to 60-year-young Dick Trickle, who qualified 7th. He said, my goals are simple today. I want to have fun, and I really want to be competitive. And I have a message for Dave Marcus, or the car owner. Set that hook softly when you catch the fish today. Not only can he still drive, he can also give fishing tips at the same time. To Matt Yoakum.
Marty, Tony Stewart has a lot of motivation today. He starts 10th, but at 3 a.m. this morning, he learned this World of Outlaws team with Danny the Dude Lasowski behind the wheel clinched their first World of Outlaws championship. So now Stewart's also looking at points for himself. Now, only 84 markers out of 2nd at a racetrack where his worst finish in 5 starts is 12th. He is 4th here before. He's hoping to get a victory today, but he's never led a lap at the Rock. Bill?
Well, Matt, get ready to hear a lot about Jeff Gordon, not just today, but in the final 4 races of this season. As for this race here at the North Carolina Speedway, Jeff Gordon has 4 wins here. All 4 have come during years when he's won the championship, including 1998. He came to this race, all he had to do to clinch the championship was finish 40th. He won the race and celebrated the championship in style. Gordon cannot clinch today, but a win would certainly prepare the party scene for Homestead, Florida next Sunday. Alan?
Bill, thank you. They obviously gave the field an extra pace lap because a little bit cooler than it's been the last few days. So while they come to the green, let's check some storylines. And Gordon, in his pursuit of the championship, will be high on the list.
And he will race. Be no laying back for Jeff Gordon today, because after all, with 380-point lead, he can afford to race.
Tires. They wear out fast here. You're going to see these times fall off about 2 seconds. Like I said earlier, these tires go off very quickly.
Rudd, Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, they're in the back. They've got good cars. They'll be charging toward the front. We're going to have fun watching. 393 laps to make up the 400 miles. Kenny Wallace leads the field to the green. Trouble, turn one. One car is spun. It's Kyle Petty. He's been collected by Bill Elliott.
I think that's the magic he was looking for.
He turned him around. The 8 car just drove it in there and turned him around.
Well, there's the spotter's idea of what happened. And Kyle's view as he tries to get it fired. Listen to him trying to start it.
He just got lapped.
How frustrating is that? Oh, Kyle, I feel for you, buddy. I really feel for you.
And Bill Elliott, the other one involved, some pretty significant damage as well. He did stay on the lead lap.
I don't think that's going to do him a lot of good because he looks like a lot of damage to that Dodge.
Oh, yes, there is.
I just got a glimpse. I wish I hadn't seen the full effect.
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
Let's take a look at what happened. Turn 1, lap 1.
Well, it's somewhere in the back. And there we see that the 45 car is already around. The spotter says that the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., made contact with him. So I guess we need to look for damage on the front of Earnhardt Jr.'s car.
Kyle started in the 22nd position. Earnhardt Jr. started in 21st.
All these guys on the apron of the racetrack, the spotters have warned them that where the trouble is.
Unfortunately, they really weren't up to speed, so, or it would have probably collected a lot more cars.
So if Kyle started outside of Dale Jr. in the same row, maybe Kyle thought he was clear of Dale Jr. and oh, this should be a good look.
It's a good shot of Elliott. Yep. Earnhardt Jr. got in the left rear quarter panel of Kyle. Turned him around.
On board with Kyle Petty. I'm sorry, this is John Andretti. I should have known when I saw the pop secret there. He's riding around the racetrack.
Oops. Dale Jr., how about his car, Dave?
Well, he just radioed in, Alan, and said, I didn't think he was coming down, but I guess I thought wrong. He asked his spotter up above the speedway to tell him if there was any damage on the front. That's how the driver figures these things out. And he told him there was just a little bit of damage behind the front right headlight and that there was nothing else wrong with the car. Bill?
Well, Dave, Kyle Petty's situation is just unbelievable. The Sprint Dodge is battered. They brought it in once already as he comes down pit road for the second time. They pulled the sheet metal away, put on 4 new tires, and what they're going to try and do is beat some of the sheet metal away from those tires again, put the sheet metal back in place around the body, and then send him back out. Kyle says so far the car feels okay as far as the handling is concerned. Obviously, he hasn't been up to speed, but just unbelievable.
I guarantee you that car's not going to handle very well once it's up to speed.
All right, let's go again and have a look at Kyle Petty's onboard view of the crash.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, from that angle, it almost looked like Kyle was coming down, trying to get down to the bottom, and maybe he didn't realize the 8 car was there. It's a tough call there.
And this is lap 3, run under the caution. Early caution here at Rockingham. Bill Elliott has taken his car behind the wall. He and Kyle Petty involved in the incident. They've just taken the green flag here at Rockingham. We're back underway. Kenny Wallace leads. Ricky Craven is second. Casey Atwood being challenged by Jerry Nadeau for third.
And see all those cars on the bottom of the racetrack? Folks, trust me, that will not last long. In 10 laps, we'll see the cars all over from the bottom to the very top.
Nadeau has taken third from Atwood. Bobby Hamilton is to his outside. That'll be for fourth spot. And he's got it. Dick Trickle and Jeff Gordon in 7th and 8th. Here comes a challenge for second. Nadeau in the 25, really flying in the opening laps.
Someone handed me a note in the garage here this morning, said this is the same car that Nadeau used in Dover. Remember when he started 41st and came to second?
Yep.
Maybe I ought to keep this one.
It's a good keeper. So up to second place for Nadeau. He took the green flag in fourth. Something going on with Mark Martin, Matt?
There was a concern for Mark Martin in the 6th. It's been 58 races since he last won a race. They're hoping for some good luck here. Early reports, he says the clutch has started to slip on the 6 car.
You know, Greg Biffle had the same problem with his Granger car in the NASCAR Busch Series. Another Roush car on Friday lost all the practice because of the clutch slipping.
On the clutch, Mark.
Tony Stewart moving forward. That was 8th place. He's just taken from Dick Trickle. I mentioned a minute ago, Bill Elliott has taken his car to the garage. Liz Allison is with him.
And Bill started 24th. Bill, you got in some trouble on the first lap. What happened?
Kyle tried to turn in under the 8 car. The 8 car clipped him. And, you know, Kyle just tried to get down the hill too quick. And when he did, he spun out in front of me. And I tried to wait till the last minute to find out which way he's going to go and just got into the deal.
Well, and these guys are going to keep working on the car to see if they can get back out there. Bill Elliott got his very first start here 25 years ago, but he's sitting in the garage right now. Alan?
Not too good for Bill, and Kyle Petty is back on pit road, having more work done to his car and losing more.
And we can see that Bobby Hamilton already on the top of the racetrack. And here they come, all over the 1 and 2.
Rusty Wallace trying to follow Bobby Labonte forward.
And watch this when they go in the corner. We'll see these cars fan out, go low, high, and Ward Burton's going in the middle.
And they'll be right up against that wall here in about another 20 laps.
A lot of folks said that 22 car was one of the best in yesterday's final practice, and Ward Burton was going to be.
Well, the whole key here is to have your car the best on old tires, and that's the thing we're watching in happy hour. A lot of cars that were fast, but you really need to look at their 60th and 70th lap. That's where it's very important here at Rockingham, because the car is always sliding, so you just want to be in a very comfortable slide for those laps. If there is such a thing.
Yeah. Dale Jr. peek into the inside of Ward Burton. That's 20th place they're racing for. Whoa.
Talked to Tony Eury Jr. Tony Eury this morning, crew chief on the in-car, said this is not Junior's favorite racetrack. But after this weekend, it might be Kenny Wallace's favorite racetrack of all time.
Won the pole here on Friday in this car, won the NASCAR Busch Series race yesterday, and in the hunt for his first NASCAR Winston Cup victory, though it's early in the event.
Tell you what, Kenny Wallace, this one car pole sitter, he has not ventured off the bottom of the racetrack. But meanwhile, we have a battle for the second spot. Ricky Craven, the Tide Ride 32, drives up on the outside of Nadeau and takes that spot away.
So Nadeau faster in the first few laps of the run, but Craven better as we get more age on the tires.
And that's what's very important here.
Now, we talked about in our storylines, watching the guys with good cars starting in the back, moving up through the pack. Well, Jeff Burton is the quickest of them so far. 99 car, last week's winner at Phoenix, took the green flag back in 38th spot. And here he's challenging Ron Hornaday for 22nd. The guys moving up through the field. There's Burton, Kenseth, Rusty Wallace.
And Ron Hornaday about to lose a spot to Jeff Burton, but he has gained 10 spots since the drop of the green flag.
So, you're Jeff Burton, and you got to hustle up through the field and try and gain some spots in the early ground, but you know you've got to save some tires here at Rockingham. We talked with Jeff earlier in the weekend about how you go about trying to do that, save tires here.
And the faster you go with a bad handling car, the harder it is on your tires. The key to handling well is that it saves your tires, and you can't ask the driver to go save tires if the car doesn't handle well. You can, if your car is handling well, you can manage your tire usage, and you can manage when you run the tire hard and when you don't run the tire hard, but it all revolves around how well your car is handling.
Perfect. That's 100% right. You cannot save tires if you don't have a good handling race car.
Michael Walker trying to get on the inside of Jeff Burton. Michael in the 15 car. As I said when we announced the lineup, ran the fewest lap in happy hour and was very, very confident of his car.
Marty, how about Jeff Burton?
He's handling very well right now, thank you very much, as he chases down Elliott Sadler trying to gain another spot. And he said something interesting in happy hour yesterday. He said the car was too fast. So what they did was tighten it up a little bit so they could make it better on the longer runs. It was too good at the beginning of the run. They wanted to save some of that for later in the run. The way they did that is by tightening up the car, and they think it's made it better on the longer runs.
So obviously his car was a little bit loose, which is pretty fast, but it will wear your tires out. You have a loose car, you're not going to have much left after about 30 or 40 laps.
Going to be leaning on that right rear tire real hard. So Burton here hung up in a pretty good fight with Mike Wallace and Elliott Sadler and Ron Hornaday. Sadler in the 21 and Mike Wallace in the 12.
And Jimmy Spencer joins that battle.
And this is all back for the 20th, 21st, and 22nd spots. And now for 23rd and 4th between Mike Wallace and Spencer. Nothing's changed up front. Kenny Wallace still kind of cruising around there.
Well, something has changed because Ricky Craven is closing in on that one car. And I think Kenny Wallace is going to have to move atop the racetrack pretty soon. Meanwhile, Matt, what do you got for us?
Kenny Wallace was very comfortable running the bottom, but his crew chief, Paul Andrews, said try the high side because 3 or 4 other cars are actually faster than you on the high side. That's where you see Ricky Craven, the 25 and 55 cars. So Kenny went up high, but he said he felt better on the bottom, so he was going to go back down to the bottom, but he did search around a little bit, trying to see maybe that one car might feel a little better at a different part of the racetrack.
Look at Craven. Look as he comes off this corner and just looks like he gained bus links up in 3 and 4.
Bus links?
Bus links, not car links. I'm talking about Greyhound bus links.
Now, when he goes to 18-wheeler link, no good. Bus links. So Craven eating up Kenny Wallace for the lead right now. Look how close he is to that wall.
And that's where he's making up all his time, BP. He's right up there in between 3 and 4. It's almost like a Darlington turn in 1 and 2.
It's a matter of laps before Ricky Craven has the lead. Look at this. Joe Nemechek working on Jeff Gordon. This would be for 7th place.
And Nemechek started in 13th. And both of Andrew Petrie car now in the top 10. Bobby Hamilton currently running in 4th position.
Now, just moments ago, Mark Martin and Mike Wallace got together racing for a spot. Let's check it out.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Mike, that is one terrific job saving that ride. And I'm told from the pits that Mike Wallace says, I'm very, very, very loose.
Well, he needs to get up on that high line if he's very loose, because that's not the place you want to be on the bottom with a loose race car.
He's just lost the 26th place to Dale Jarrett, about to lose 27th to Johnny Benson.
The reason for that, when you're down on the bottom, you're actually turning the steering wheel more, especially in the middle of the corner. When the car's loose, you turn the steering wheel more, it's going to turn better, and it's going to get sideways.
Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett racing for a spot there. Up front, the leaders caught the tail end of the field. Todd Bodine running in 41st place. about to be overtaken by leader Kenny Wallace. 36 laps complete. Kenny Wallace has led them all so far at Rockingham. Kenny Wallace is the leader of the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400 NASCAR Winston Cup Series in Rockingham, North Carolina for the 33rd race of the 2001 season.
That was a battle for the 7th position between Jeff Gordon and Casey Atwood. Atwood had it. Jeff wanted it, and he took it.
Kyle Petty has taken his car back to the garage. Looks like he's done for the day, Liz.
Yes, it does look like that way, Alan. He started 22nd. Kyle, an unfortunate mishap on lap 1. What happened?
I don't know. Rather broke a motor. That's the main thing that happened. On the deal with Little Earnhardt going in turn 1, I don't know if I came down or if he run down in there. I'm not going to say anything bad about him because everything I read and see on TV, he hung the moon, and I want to make sure the moon comes up tomorrow. So I'm not going to say anything, but it was uncalled for.
And very disappointed Kyle Petty, but I must add that Kyle has won at this racetrack 3 times, so he's had a lot of success here, Alan.
Wow. I think he condemned him by not saying a word, don't you?
Well, got to make sure the moon comes up.
Exactly.
Pretty good, Kyle. Kyle's out. Bill Elliott's in the garage. And there's the damage to the right front corner of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. And they got together turn 1, lap 1. See the scoring serial on Dale Jr. He's moved up to 14th. Tony Stewart has taken the 4th spot away from Joe Nemechek. I wonder if that fender damage has affected the handling of Dale Jr.'s car at all.
I don't think too much.
Yeah, that's what I think we need to do some air pressure before we go to the traffic for the rubber. It's about using the back tire, about plowing, just a little tight.
Dale Jr.
Get forward. We'll do a little air pressure first.
Talking to Tony Eury Jr.
Well, he talked about a little bite, so he's a little bit loose by the sounds of it. How about it, Dave? Can you tell us what Dale's doing there?
Actually, I was going to tell you about Dale Jr. Interesting conversations on the radio. You were listening to one of them earlier. I heard them talking about the fact that the car was tight in the middle when he's down low, but that's the line he's been running. And in fact, they radioed to him, "You're running great down there. You're one of the fastest cars down there." But Junior said it would loosen up a little bit when he went up high. So what's a driver to do? He's quick down low, but the car doesn't handle real well down there.
Well, you go where the stopwatch tells you that you're the best. After all, that's the whole point, is getting around the racetrack as fast as you possibly can. Check out our telemetry on board the Budweiser Chevrolet. And
little flash of 8,400 RPM there going into turn 3.
Should see a little bit more down the front stretch because it, after all, is a little bit longer. 8,600 and something. Now, right here, the car's not really pushing, just kind of sliding across the racetrack. After these tires get some laps on them, they just stop gripping. They just start sliding across the racetrack.
And you heard him have to get out of the throttle there when he started that run up off turn 2.
Yeah, actually, a car that handles good here at Rockingham will be in a 4-wheel slide. Just evenly slides up the racetrack.
Yeah, it's not if you slide, it's...
You're going to slide. You just don't want it to slide too far.
How controlled of a slide you're in. Tony Stewart's on the move.
Yeah, Tony's car was really, really good on the long runs in happy hour as well. He stayed out there a long time, as well as Jeff Burton and Mark Martin. Really worked on that car in the long runs.
Jerry Nadeau waves him by to that spot. Dave Burns.
And he just radioed in, Alan, pretty balanced right now. Those were the words from Tony Stewart. So he's pretty happy with the car and doesn't look like they're going to make any major changes during the first round of pit stops.
Balanced is good.
Aerial views here at Rockingham, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one.
Todd Bodines' Kmart car was so bad that he decided to heck with it. He's going to come in and get 4 fresh tires, make some adjustments, and try his luck with 4 fresh tires.
He'd already been lapped by the leaders under the green. There's Todd leaving the pit lane. Started the race back in 43rd spot, last in the field. He's 2 laps down now and running 41st. Going to be a long day. Brother Brett just overtaken by the leader Kenny Wallace. Carl Long and Buckshot Jones have also been lapped under the green flag.
How well that Kenny Wallace, how much better he's running since he moved up the racetrack. Dave Blaney, the 93 car, has fallen back in the grasp of Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's the battle for the 13th position. Dave Blaney started in 6th.
Blaney making one of his final drives for Bill Davis. End of the season, he moves to the 77 car, and Hutch Strickland takes over this ride. Whoa. Almost scared the paint off the side of it.
Even when the tires are good, the second corner is a tough corner. And when these tires get hot and the car starts sliding around like they do now, it becomes almost impossible. Second spot. Tony Stewart goes into the spot.
So, Stewart, after starting in 10th, moving forward at lap 54 to the runner-up spot. Check the gap. He's 1.8 seconds behind Kenny Wallace. There's the scoring serial on Tony Stewart. Kenny Wallace has led all of the laps so far. Flag, it happened in turn 1, lap 1, when Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott crashed in that corner. For the lead, the orange car is Tony Stewart, and he is by Kenny Wallace, second leader of the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400.
Man, was that it?
You can see how much less racetrack cars using than everybody else. The 1 and the 32 slide right up to the wall in turn 3 and 4. But the 20 car is staying a little bit lower, which means he does have a good handling car right now.
Tony Stewart started 10th. He's taken over the lead after Kenny Wallace led the opening 61 circuits of the race. Now Stewart's got a lot of heavy traffic right in front of him.
Yeah, that's the good news is he's the lead. The bad news is he's got a lot of traffic that does not want to go a lap down right in front of him.
John Andretti. Stewart overtaking here. Andretti running back in 36th place. Robbie Gordon went a lap down a minute ago. And now we're up to 65 laps in this opening run of the race. And Bill, how much farther will they go before we start to see some people make some pit stops?
It's going to be interesting to watch, Alan. Some guys are tight, some guys are loose. Guys have been screaming since lap 10 that they want tires. But here's the situation. When they do decide to pit, pay very close attention. This track has a very funky pit road. Not only its length, but its history. Remember, Dale Earnhardt had the missing lug nut that wasn't really missing at this track. Ricky Rudd fired crew guys on his pit crew during the race at this track and then stayed out so he didn't have to pit because he didn't want his guys pitting, and then he won that race. Very strange things happen on this pit road. Pay close attention. Matt?
Bill, while the 1 car reported that he is loose up off the corner, and that's why the 20 car got by, and that's the same thing that the 25 car, Jerry Nader, reported. He's lost forward bias, so they're talking about possibly an air pressure. For sure, they're talking about doing a wedge adjustment on this 25 car, and that's why he is faded to 4th today.
Interesting note, Matt, when the cars come down to pit lane, one of the only guys who has guys with helmets on for his pit crew, it's a very dangerous thing down there, Bill talked about weird things happen, is Ricky Craven. His guys all wear helmets because Cal Wells, the car owner, thinks that's the way to go. Right now, Ricky's car tight, and the car has been that way pretty much from the start of the race. Marty?
Well, Dave, Jeff Gordon has an outstanding record at Rockingham in his last 9 races here. He only has 1 finish out of the top 4. But I think after about 65 laps today, he's had enough of this setup. The car is loose in, tight in the middle, and pushing off the corners. He started 8th, and he's running 9th. Fix that problem, guys.
He's, what was that? Loose in, tight in the middle, and tight off. Tires.
Tires, yeah.
Fix that.
That'll fix everything.
Come on in and put 4 on, right? Gordon running back in 12th spot now. Ward Burton continuing to charge forward. Ward started 25th in that 22 car.
And Schrader in the 36 car just drove by Jeff Gordon, as did the 22 car. So Gordon's car is very, very slow now. He might be coming to the pit road. I believe he is. No, he's trying the low line. He was running so low, I thought he was coming.
About 10 more laps, and we can help you out. About 10 more laps.
There's the story there.
Well, loose in is very bad, especially at Rockingham. It's very hard to be fast with a race car that's loose in the corner. The car wants to turn sideways when you turn the steering wheel down in. it's a handful.
Look at that, 133 miles per hour the last lap, and the leader ran 136 miles per hour. Marty?
The whole problem, guys, if you want the whole problem, loose in, push in the middle, and no forward bite off. So go about fixing it from there if you want to.
Yeah, well, when, you know, if you're loose in, you're off your rear tires. And when you're off your rear tires, you can't push the gas pedal down because you just get wheel spin. So he's really having to get after that throttle very slowly and push it down like that thing's an egg. Well, when you do that, and guys can get in the throttle, you're going to get beat bad.
So again, Jeff Gordon back in 13th place. How about this?
Joe Nemechek has started 13th, has moved into second spot, and might be a little bit faster than Tony Stewart. Well, okay, that might be a stretch.
Whoa, there was loose right there.
His team needing sponsorship for next season, and they're showcasing well early in the race today.
Ricky Rudd said, hey, I've had all this I can stand. Michael McSwain, crew chief, fix this thing, give me 4 fresh tires.
Ricky had just gone a lap down, then overtaken by leader Tony Stewart, so he comes in at lap 72. And here's that curved pit road that we talked about in the pre-race show. Dave?
Ricky radioed in. He had talked about being loose off. They're going to make a chassis adjustment in the back. You see the wrench turning. Lots of adjustment back there. Wow, he must have been really loose off. They'll change 4 tires and put 2 cans of fuel in as well for Ricky Rudd.
Good stop. And now it's going to be unbelievable to you fans just how much faster that Ricky Rudd's car will be than any other car on the speedway with those 4 fresh tires.
Change for 4th spot. Bobby Labonte has just passed Ricky Craven. Labonte started in 19th, and now he comes up to challenge that 25 car, Jerry Nadeau, for 3rd. Looks like the Joe Gibbs boys have got this long run on tires thing figured out here today.
And Bobby Labonte started in 19th, and right now he's only about 3 seconds behind his teammate and the leader, Tony Stewart.
Again, this for 3rd place. And he'll get him coming off the corner here. So, Bobby Labonte takes over the number 3 spot. And as Benny said, a couple of seconds behind the top 2. Look at Nemechek closing in on Stewart.
That's Mike Wallace in the mobile car that had that great run last week in Phoenix. He's now a lap down.
Brett Bodine and Mark Martin have been on pit road, are on pit road for green flag stops. Matt?
And the 6 car, who we told you earlier was battling a clutch that was slipping, makes his way to install a different chassis this week than last week. They had an out-of-house Laughlin, this week a Hopkins, just trying to help Mark find a feel with this new Goodyear tire. No chassis adjustments. This will be a 4-tire change, as everybody will be screaming for 4 tires today. Mark Martin's down and away.
Let's go down.
Go ahead, man.
I said, let's go down to Bill Weber.
Well, thank you, Benny. 92 car, Stacy Compton on pit road and make a big chassis adjustment. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. This car should lead the parade as guys coming down pit road. Everybody talk about the next couple of laps.
Danger in pitting before the leader does under the green is if a caution comes out now, you're trapped 2 or 3 laps down, and it's going to be a long day for you. Stewart and Nemechek for the top spot, with Bobby Labonte closing quickly in 3rd.
And Nemechek is right there and goes into the lead off turn 1 and 2. What a great move. What a great car he has.
3rd different leader of the race. Nemechek with only 3 top 10 finishes this entire season. Jeff Gordon on pit road. Marty?
Boy, are these guys falling through the field, Alan, all the way back to 18th as he comes in. We'll reiterate his problem. Loose in, push in the middle, and no forward bite off. They're going to do some air pressure. They also do that wedge adjustment. It will be 4 tires for these guys. They had a good day in the Pit Crew Challenge yesterday. Finished in the top 5. They get the left rear on, and Jeff Gordon goes back out on the track.
Dick Trickle followed Jeff Gordon down the pit lane. Elliott Sadler, I'm sorry, Casey Atwood, Terry Labonte, and Mike Wallace are all in. There's Atwood.
Let's go down to Bill Weber.
Mike Wallace on pit road. Remember, his car was loose. They make a wedge adjustment, put on the right side tires, come around to the left. This team looking for another strong run, but they really need a win if you think this team can survive the next season. Wallace on his way.
Good pit stop. But you're right now. If the caution flag should come out, a lot of teams. It will be a disaster for so many teams.
Deep trouble if they get a caution here. Dave Blaney on pit road, coming to the attention of the Bill Davis team, and we go to Dave Burns.
And Alan Dave, of course, had a great qualifying run starting up front for this team. He leaves this team at the end of the year and joins the 7 team, so he's still trying to make a big splash before the year is out. He'll come in. He was complaining that the car was very, very loose, and so we'll see what the team does to try to adjust that. They'll go ahead and go to fuel. They will make a chassis adjustment in the rear of the car while they fuel it and change 4 tires. That'll be a track bar adjustment that will change the way the right rear of that car sets up to try to make him a little bit tighter on the track. Marty?
Kevin Harvick started 23rd. He had fallen back as far as 30th, but up to 25th as he hits pit road here, the newly crowned NASCAR Busch Series champion. He is tight. I asked Kevin Hamlin, is he tight in 1 and 2 or tight in 3 and 4? He said yes, so he's tight everywhere. And the car not running as he comes down pit road. They will have to get it started here. That will cost him a lot of time as the left side tires go on. They now get it cranked back up for Harvick, and he goes off pit road. To Bill Weber.
Joe Nemechek pits as the leader of the race. An outstanding run. Nemechek has been very quiet on the radio. Don't expect to see any chassis changes here. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel. Nemechek in one of his last 4 rides for Andy Petree Racing, leaving at the end of this year. An announcement expected in Atlanta. Could be headed for Travis Carter Racing. Would love to take this team to victory lane before he leaves. Now they're having trouble on the left rear. A lug nut fell off. Very costly at Rockingham under green.
19-second stop for Nemechek. Bobby Labonte is the new leader. Rusty Wallace is in. Jeff Burton is in. Jason Leffler's in.
And Rusty Wallace, right side they've been changed. The left side is on, and away he goes. Let's go, Marty.
Well, he talked about the great progress of Jeff Burton. He started 38th. He got as high as 17th, but then fell back to 27th. The car extremely loose, and they're having trouble in the left rear. They drop a lug. Now they have to rethread it by hand. They do a track bar and a wedge adjustment, and a long stop for these guys.
Jerry Nadeau's in, Johnny Benson, Sterling Marlin, the latest on pit road. As this cycle of green flag stops continues, while Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart continue to hold the top spot. Matt?
Jerry Nadeau skids to a stop. The same car he drove to a 2nd place finish at Dover. They are making a chassis adjustment on the 25 as the wedge wrench gets hung in the hole. Come around to the left side. They took 1 pound of air in on the left side tires and then the 1 round of bite, and Nadeau is gone.
I was impressed with that jack, man. He ripped a sheet off the windshield and let the jack down almost at the same time on Jerry Nadeau's car. All right, here comes
Tony Stewart. Along with Jimmy Spencer, Kevin LePage, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and Ricky Craven are on pit road at lap number 88. Stewart got a long way to go at 45 miles an hour before he gets to his pit stall.
And we see that concrete pit road. These drivers got to be very careful leaving pit road not to break an axle. Davis coming to you.
And the anticipation is great down here, Benny, because the guys can't see around the corner. Finally, they see their 20 car come around, and they go to the right side. They're going to make a track bar adjustment. He mentioned that he would need a little bit more forward bite and a little side bite, so the track bar will be the only adjustment that they make. Ricky Craven has pulled around him. His crew will try to fix his car as well. Craven was a little bit tight. Bill?
Another outstanding run for Matt Kenseth, who had to start 40th and has worked his way up toward the front of the field. Now on pit road, wanted to pit 1 lap after Tony Stewart. 4 tires, fuel, no changes to Matt.
And the leader of the 18 car, Bobby Labonte, is in a 4-tire change in fuel. They also made an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. He was a little bit loose up off the corner.
And a great pit stop for Labonte. Most of the other leaders had some trouble. We'll see. That should put him way out front.
Dale Jarrett has been in. Ken Schrader's on pit road. Michael Waltrip is on pit road. Dale Jr. heading out. Waltrip actually led this last lap as one of the last to come in pit of the leaders. And that should finish the cycle of pit stops with Waltrip and Ken Schrader coming in. Should go back to Joe Nemechek here in just a second. So off the pit stops, it's going to be Joe Nemechek, Jerry Nadeau, Bobby Hamilton, then Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart. They'll be the first 5.
And the reason that Bobby Labonte is not leading the race with that great pit stop is those fellas stopped before he did. And they were back on the racetrack running about 2 seconds a lap faster than he was out there on used tires. So if they stopped 3 laps earlier than he did, then they made up seconds.
So Labonte back in 4th. Nemechek is the leader. We're just through a round of green flag pit stops here at Rockingham, almost 1/4 of the way through. 99 laps complete here at Rockingham in the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400. 99 of 393 that'll make up the distance. The beauty and sometimes the difficulty of pit road.
25 car, Jerry Nadeau is in the pits. Jackman, a left-handed Jackman, you don't see that very much. Tires come up and watch as he pulls off the strip, windshield strip and lets the jack down at the same time.
Bravo.
That was really good.
Now, on the other side of the coin, things can sometimes not go the way you plan it. Watch the Jackman on Tony Stewart's car.
He trips. Oh, look out, guys, the Jackson. Oh, he finally grabbed. And it's a good thing that Jack only weighs about 30 pounds because he could not stop for about 2 days with been a 75-pound Jack.
Didn't lose that much time.
It was a 16.2 pit stop, so he only lost probably about 1.5 seconds. Good recovery.
Here's our green flag pit summary, and that's the 2-lap time it took to get the in-lap and the out-lap on pit road. Is that right-hand column, the total time? Jerry Nadeau, in and out fast. On our Wendy's race menu, coming up, the race for the championship moving to Homestead, Florida next weekend. And the Homestead Miami Speedway, you'll see it on NBC at noon Eastern time. Atlanta, Loudon, New Hampshire to finish out the season. Which one of those will it be when Jeff Gordon claims the NASCAR Winston Cup title? Hope you're with us to find out. Joe Nemechek is the race leader here at Rockingham, one of 5 drivers who've been out in front. There are the top 10. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. The leader here at Rockingham is Joe Nemechek, out in front of Jerry Nadeau by 1.93 seconds. Nemechek, the 5th different driver to lead the race here today. Johnny Benson has just moved into the 5th position, passing Rusty Wallace. Ward Burton came with him. Benson up from the 39th starting spot to the top 5 in the opening quarter of this race. Great run. Our UPS Track Fact focuses in on first career NASCAR Winston Cup wins here at the Rock. Johnny Benson would be one of them if he could get his first victory here today. Johnny Allison, Mark Martin, and Ward Burton. Raced back in 1995 with the Dale Earnhardt mysterious lug nut caper that Bill Weber referred to a little while ago.
I guess that shows I'm not as old as I thought I was. I only remember 2 of those. I remember Mark Martin and Ward Burton went in there getting their first victories here. Bill Weber, what do you have to add to Johnny Benson's trials and tribulations today?
Well, Benny, if they gave an award for being close to getting your first win, Benson would have already wrapped that up and could head home. But having another strong run here, had a great pit stop, no changes, just more tires and fuel. So it's a strong run. And listen to this. The chassis he is driving was designed by his crew chief, James Inch, while he was on his honeymoon in Paris last winter. That chassis has earned 2 6th-place finishes and a 7th this year in 4 starts. And for good luck, James' wife, Denise, is wearing a T-shirt from the Eiffel Tower that she got, obviously, in Paris. So if, you know, the magic works there, Benson we can add to the first-time winners list later today.
But Bill, the question remains to be asked. What was James doing designing a race car chassis on his honeymoon?
You know, Alan, I tried to ask him that question, and it's just so darn loud down here, he couldn't hear me, or I couldn't hear his answer, and I'm not sure I want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
James is designing race cars in the city of love.
But it is working very effectively for them today. As Benson again up to 5th place after starting back in 39. Talked about it, our storylines at the top of the show. Guys who had good race cars that were qualified in the back that were going to work their way to the front. Johnny would fit that category.
And Johnny's car is working very well low, which is unusual for even this many laps on the tires. He can run pretty low in 1 and 2. He's running about the middle in 3 and 4.
Putting a lap on Terry Labonte. Terry back in 35th place. Here's 1 lap down to the race leader. Let's check on some of those guys that started at the back of the field and where they're running so far.
There's Bobby Labonte. He's currently in the 3rd position as he tries to chase down the leader.
There they are. Matt Kenseth 14th, Ricky Rudd 18th. Rudd had been lapped before that pit stop, so short pitting had worked to his advantage.
Yep.
You guys talked about the concept earlier. Burns, what do you got?
Well, and on the converse of that, long pitting did not help the 32 car of Ricky Craven. We talked about the 28. He stopped on lap 71. The 32 of Ricky Craven stopped on lap 88. And Nick Harvey, the team manager, told me that's where we lost all of our time, was staying out. They had a great pit stop. It was sub 15 seconds, but they lost all their time on old tires on this old track.
Leader Nemechek in that blue and white 33 car, starting to see the 2nd place man loom larger.
Well, this Nemechek is having all kind of trouble trying to fight his way through the traffic. These cars, like Mark Martin and the cars that he has lapped, do not obviously want to go that lap down. They've tried their best to stay out in front of Nemechek, and that has really slowed his progress.
Joe Nemechek, of course, a NASCAR Winston Cup winner. Back in New Hampshire in September of '99, Jerry Nadeau picked up his first Winston Cup win in the season ender last year at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Seems like Nadeau runs the best at the tough tracks. Remember that great run at Dover back in September, Darlington, here in Rockingham. Why so good on the hardest tracks, Jerry?
Really, the biggest thing this year is the tires have given me the biggest trouble. They're a lot harder, and some of the tracks where I tend to overdrive, they don't work too well. Places like these where you can attack the track, it helps a lot. And it showed here. It showed at Darlington. We finished top 10 at Dover, and here again, you know, hopefully we'll get a top 10 today. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's just one of those deals that it's good for an aggressive guy. For tracks like Rockingham, Dover, and Darlington.
We've heard that from somebody before. Dale Jr., I think, had a pretty similar theory. That the tracks where you can overdrive, he excels at. The places where you have to maybe finesse it a little more into the corners, he didn't do quite as well.
I would think this would be a racetrack that you'd have to finesse going down in the corner, that you couldn't drive that hard, because I've always subscribed to the theory that if you overdrive on a set of tires the first couple laps, you basically ruin them for the entire run.
Yeah, I agree with Benny. This is a place that you can't, especially the way the tires are and the way they wear, you can't drive real hard in the corner or you will hit the wall when you slide up, because when you drive the car in the corner, you're basically off the gas like where Joe is, and he's just rolling this car into the corner and waiting to get on the throttle as gently as he can. If you overdrive it, it's going to be very slippery.
12th place, Sterling Marlin in the 40, and Ricky Craven going to go 3 wide with the lap car of John Andretti.
And there comes the 17 car, Matt Kenseth. And these guys, Kenseth, Robbie Reiser, this entire DeWalt crew, they continue to amaze me each week by starting in the rear and marching to the front.
Kenseth finished 4th at Phoenix last Sunday. After starting 38th, he finished 4th. The week before at Talladega from 24th. Billy's got another one of those runs going today.
I'll tell you, it's really impressive what they've done. Now, Matt Kenseth, it appears that he's been taking qualifying lessons from Jeff Burton, and that's a little bit like getting diet tips from Benny Parsons. It's not something you really want to do a lot of. But each week they come moving through the field. They have solid race cars, a good driver. Yesterday they won the World Pit Crew Championship. Their first stop today, 15.51. They have all the elements down to get back to victory lane, except they keep starting so far back. Sorry about that, BP.
I'll get you for that, Weber.
I have no doubt you will.
I'll get you for that. You got one coming, big boy. Kind of the truth, though, really.
Well, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart exchanging third place. Stewart moving forward. And Labonte slipping one more back behind Joe Nemechek and Jerry Nadeau. They are the top two. Lap 127 complete here at Rockingham. The North Carolina Speedway in Rockingham hosting today's Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400. An absolutely gorgeous day for early November in the Carolina Sandhills, and a beautiful day for Joe Nemechek, who continues to pace this event. We look down on the track from our U.S. Army Skycam, courtesy of the United States Army. There are 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com. Coming up next on TNT, get ready for more action from two guys who don't exactly get along. Benny Parsons and Wally Gollivant. No, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker star in Rush Hour next on TNT.
I believe he said that.
I can't believe he said that. We get along just fine.
That might be the question I get asked most when we go around, you know, and mix among the race fans is, do Wally and Benny really not like each other?
Well, I see that Bobby Labonte has moved past Jerry Nadeau into the second spot.
And past Tony Stewart to retake third just before that.
That's right. The last time we saw Tony Stewart had passed him. Well, Bobby Labonte passed him right back. And he's only a second and a quarter behind the leader, Joe Nemechek.
Same pattern we saw on the first long run of the race. Labonte and Stewart were about the best when we got the greatest wear on the tires. Labonte's last lap was a 26.4 second circuit. Nemechek, the leader, 26.6. How about Labonte, Matt?
Well, Al, if you look at Bobby Labonte's season, it's been up and down, and that's kind of how the last 2 weeks have been. Last week, a great race car, but inconsistent tires. One set would be tight, one would be loose today. Everything is clicking off like clockwork, but Bobby Labonte has a game plan. He and Jimmy Makar talked about it on the grid. They won't talk about it on the radio, and they said just recently on the radio they are sticking to their game plan. They will do their pitting strategy unlike anybody else, no matter what anybody else says. Right now, though, the car's a little bit tight, but there is a slight vibration, but he is moving to the front.
Working his way through some lap traffic, and you see the gap up to the leader, Joe Nemechek there. Speeds at the line. That time Nemechek. There's Nemechek's teammate Bobby Hamilton. Fastest last lap among the top 10. Of course, Bobby Labonte was working some lap traffic that time. Off of 4, trying to get under Bobby Hamilton Jr. But he continues to close the gap on Joe Nemechek. Closing in on 150 miles to the 400 to be run today in Rockingham. Checking in on the Coca-Cola family of drivers today here at Rockingham. Bobby Labonte second and closing on leader Joe Nemechek. Stewart and Jarrett running well. Some others not faring quite as fortunate. Jeff Burton won. He's about to get lapped by the leaders as they're coming up quickly behind him.
And Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott had met together on turn 1 of the very first lap.
Kyle's out of the race. Bill Elliott has rejoined, but he is 68 laps down in 42nd place and a new leader.
Bobby Labonte goes down in turn 1 on the inside of Joe Nemechek. That is Labonte in the green 18, Nemechek in the white 33, and Bobby said, "See you, Joe." Now he's trying to work on the 77 of Robert Presley and the 99 car of Jeff Burton, put them a lap down.
And Tony Stewart has fallen off a little bit from his teammate Labonte, about 9/10 of a second back. So the farther we run, the more consistent Labonte is compared to the other lead lap cars. Boy, the opening laps, it just looked so good for Jeff Burton. He rocketed up from the back of the field, got up to about 16th, and he's about to go a lap down.
Let's show you what happened. On lap 5, after a pit stop, Rusty Wallace ran a lap of 25.5 seconds. 25th lap, 26.1. The 50th lap, 26.4. So you see in 50 laps, these cars are slowed down 1 second per lap. And Jeff Gordon, even worse, a 25.8 to 26.6.
But Jeff Burton lost a second and a half over that same period. And that's why he's about to be overtaken by the leader. Marty, going to be a tough day for Burton from here.
Yeah, if he's going to continue the string of top 5 finishes, they're going to need some luck and get the race car a lot better. It is tight this time, and that's actually a little bit of good news because before it was loose, so at least the car is reacting to the changes that they are making to it. But unfortunately, he is now down a lap. I would see them on pit road very, very soon.
You'd think that'd be something to look at, wouldn't you? Now that you've been put a lap down by the leaders, take the gamble and short pit.
I'd come in right now. Since you're a lap down, you may as well come in, get some fresh tires on that car, and be a second quicker than the leader. Try to make up as much ground as you can.
Right now, he's pinned. Second place, Joe Nemechek coming by him. Here comes third place, Tony Stewart. You got to be able to get to the bottom if you're going to get to pit road.
And once again, you said, why wouldn't everyone pit and put on fresh tires if they're that much faster? Because as you're making that pit stop and changing 4 tires, the race continues, and you're losing time to the leader while you're sitting in there. And then if the caution flag comes out, you've lost all that time. That's the problem that you have when you pit earlier than the leaders.
If the caution flag comes out, your blood pressure shoots sky high. That's what happens there. This is actually a race for position between Jeff Burton and Robert Pressley while these lead lap cars are slipping through them. There's Casey Atwood being overtaken by the second and third place cars. Casey now first one a lap down in 25th place. You got to be impressed with the run that Nemechek and this team have had today. Of course, Joe missing 5 races earlier this year from injuries, suffered in a testing crash up at Dover. They've had only 3 top 10s all season long. And it's a team that needs a sponsor for next year with the driver heading someplace else. Marty?
Well, Casey Atwood, as you said, just went a lap down, Alan. They will try to short pit here. He's loose. They went down 1.5 rounds on the track bar, hoping that this will help them out a little bit. They should be able to pass the leader back now and maybe gain some track position. Casey Atwood back out on the track.
Good pit stop.
Now all he's got to do is just heat it up and praise that the caution flag will not come out until all the leaders have made their pit stop.
Now, if we were to keep an eye on Casey, he's going to be driving around some of these leaders like they're chained to a stump.
He's going to be about 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap faster as John Andretti makes his pit stop. Marty?
Yeah, he's here, Benny, and he may be the last hope for Petty Enterprises to have a good run today as they will make a right side adjustment for John Andretti. It'll be a 4-tire stop. The guys have struggled on this last run especially. The car was not very good. John complained on the radio very much about this car on that last run.
Bobby Labonte last pitted at lap 88. We are at 1:55 now. So it could be a little while before we see the leader in again. Bill?
Well, Stacy Compton, again, one of the first guys coming down pit road. This is a routine stop. 4 tires, a track bar adjustment, and fuel. Good stuff for these guys, but Stacy off the lead lap, trying to battle back now.
Compton showing back in 34th before his stop, and here's Mark Martin pitting from 33rd place. Mark with such a great record here. Never thought you'd see him struggle like he is today.
What do you say, VP? 4 tires and pull what?
Pull the pin, I think he said, which is probably disconnect the rear sway bar. Had trouble on the right front. That lug nut is hung in the socket. He said, I need another wrench. Come on, Sean. He has a nut hung in the right inside the socket and cannot change any more lug nuts.
Look at that time. That's ugly.
It's 2 pit stops right there.
And he's going to get a penalty, too.
Too many men over the wall, probably.
Either that or they brought a 3rd lug wrench over the wall, and you're not allowed to do that. Bill?
Mike Wallace heading down pit road. He got 4 tires, fuel, chassis adjustment. They yanked the tearaway off the windshield.
So Mike rejoins the race. 33rd place is where he pitted from.
Mike's got some damage on the right rear quarter panel there. Like somebody got into him.
Jeff Burton is in, Marty.
And in 29th, Allen, he started that run tight in the middle. He got looser the longer the run went. They will make a track bar adjustment. They will also make 1 pound in the right front, a pound out of both rears. He needs more forward bite. 4 tires for Jeff Burton, hoping to make some progress on the track.
Now that's a very good pit stop, 15.1.
But again, he has to hope the caution does not come out until all the leaders come in.
Same situation for Jeff Gordon, as he is really struggling. He just has gone a lap down. He decided he'd make a pit stop, Marty.
And he is very, very loose, Benny. These guys did a great job last time getting him out. They got him out in 6th position. This time he comes in 21st. Very loose. He needs more forward bite. They're going to do wedge and track bar and air pressure for Jeff Gordon. Lots of changes. No doubt these guys are trying to win the race today. It'll be a 4-tire stop and a good one going so far. They drop the jack. Little trouble on the left front.
All clear, 4,000, 4,000.
So Gordon rejoins the chase. You've got Bobby Labonte leading, Joe Nemechek second, Tony Stewart third, Kenny Wallace up to fourth, and Jerry Nadeau fifth. Then in 6th place is Ward Burton, and Johnny Benson is 7th, and here they are, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Now watch Mark Martin move quickly through these guys.
Yeah, Mark will pass these guys pretty easily. That's a difference of about 1.5 seconds.
Simply because he's got fresh tires. By the way, that long pit stop has put Mark 4 laps down in 38th place. Kevin Harvick and Marty.
It was a happy Saturday for Kevin Harvick. Allen not shaping up to be a very happy Sunday as they have a long pit stop, a little trouble on the left rear. They're very tight for Kevin Harvick. They made an air pressure adjustment trying to loosen him up.
Rusty Wallace already in for his service, 4 tires. Rusty said his car was pretty loose. They adjusted with a track bar and 1 pound down the right front today.
Matt, the 28 car is in. Ricky Rudd had a flat tire on the very first pit stop. That's why he pitted so early. Only minor changes this time. His crew chief, Matt McSwain, said the car is pretty good.
Ricky had just gone a lap down before giving up the track to come to pit road. Well, if nothing else, the race has fallen into a pattern. Labonte and Stewart get better as the run goes on, and the guys that are struggling make up time by short pitting and then fall behind the farther we go without a caution.
Off the track at all. I'm just trying to control the slide, not hit the wall down there.
That's Ward Burton's radios. He talked to his crew as we watched Jerry Nadeau come down pit road to the attention of Tony Furr and his crew. And Matt is there. Matt?
45 miles per hour down pit road as Jerry Nadeau makes his way for service. Again, Nadeau complaining his car just does not have a lot of forward bite. No grip coming up off the corner, so they are going to make a wedge adjustment. No air pressure adjustment for the 25 of Nadeau, though. As they get the left sides on, the fuel's in, and he's down and away today.
Bobby Hamilton is in. The adjustments they made last time made him looser getting in. So they're going to make an air pressure adjustment to try to get that back out of the car. 4 tires and fuel for Hamilton.
Did you see the Jackman on the 25? He slipped that time.
Did he?
Yep.
Well, they do all these agility drills in pit practice, right, Bill?
Absolutely, it's a ballet. Right now, Johnny Benson on pit road, a little tight in the middle, loose off the turns. They adjusted the rear tire pressure. They wanted to pull a windshield tear off the windshield itself because Benson was having trouble seeing. But 4 tires, fuel, Benson on his way.
Good stop, 14.7. When's it going to be? When is Johnny Benson ever going to get that first NASCAR Winston Cup win? He has been so close. And running so well this year.
Might be today.
This is one of those places you hope you have enough of those tear-offs on the windshield, because this racetrack goes up so much dirt and sand on the windshield that just about every time you pit, you have to come in and pull one off. Very difficult seeing out of the windshield after you've run 80 laps here.
So when will we see Bobby Labonte on pit road? He last stopped at lap 88. We're at 170 now. As Benson rejoins the chase right behind Jerry Nadeau.
Well, if he runs another 90 laps, he should run 10 more laps before we see Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart.
Joe Nemechek has come in, Bill.
Well, Joe Nemechek also wants that tearaway off the windshield so he can see a little bit better. No changes on this car. It's just 4 tires and fuel. This is really amazing. You've got a guy that's leaving this team, a team that doesn't have a sponsor for next season, and right now at this point threatening for the win.
Best way to make your case for that backing, run good.
Tony Stewart making a pit stop. I don't think Tony Stewart's car was exactly what he wanted this time, so he's probably stopping a little bit early to make a tire change and make an adjustment on this car. Dave?
That is exactly what he's doing, Benny, and he's going to have his big gas man, Gooch Patterson, stick the wrench in the left rear and make a wedge adjustment. That's because when he's leading, he's a little bit loose. Here goes Gooch. He puts the wrench in. He also leaves the fuel can off to the catch can man, who will now throw the fuel can back across. They're also making an adjustment on the right side. So Tony was very unhappy with the car, and he will get out of pit road.
Much better pit stop. Last time a little over 16 seconds. This time a little under 15. Bobby Labonte stopped a little earlier this time.
Bill Weber.
And Matt Kenseth back on pit road. A half pound of air pressure in the right rear tire. The car's a little tight in the center of the turn, but another outstanding stop, Matt.
And Bobby Labonte reporting in his car. Very good, but the tires felt very worn out. The car was sliding all over the racetrack. Still, he says he does not want any adjustments on his 18 car. He doesn't want to take a chance on over-adjusting it. As they come around to the left side, Jeff Chandler going to work. On the front, they're cleaning off the grill. Chandler gets the lugs on, and Labonte's down and away. No adjustments.
Kenny Wallace takes over as the leader after Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart and Joe Nemechek pitted. Kenny yet to come to the pit lane. There he is. Kurt Busch moves up to second. Again, not having made his pit stop. Sterling Marlin and Ricky Craven give up top 10 spots to pit road, and here comes your leader.
They realize they cannot stay on the racetrack they found the first time. And we see Carl Long has made some contact with the wall. Is he going to bring out the caution flag?
Nothing yet from the starter stand.
But can he get back down to the inside?
Nothing yet. Still under green. Kenny Wallace is in, making his pit stop.
I don't think Carl's going to be able to get down.
Caution. Caution's out. Matt?
And Kenny Wallace is in. They will bar adjustment. They do right sides, and he's gone because of the caution. Could be a tough break for Kenny Wallace.
Get off that end of pit road fast because Kurt Busch, the leader, is to it. Well, this could make things interesting.
Very good chance we are.
We're going to have to wait until the field comes back around to the start-finish line, but there is an excellent chance
97's the leader, and he is behind us.
that Kurt Busch is one of few remaining on the lead lap. By the virtue of this caution coming out during all the green flag pit stops.
Well, there again, that's exactly what happens when you pit too early and the caution flag comes out. But it's so hard to sit out there and watch those other cars make up 2 seconds a lap on you.
5 cars on the lead lap. Kurt Busch, Joe Nemechek, Jerry Nadeau, Johnny Benson, and Kenny Wallace are going to be the only 5 left on the lead lap.
Here we got Ricky Craven coming in. Just about the same time. Oh, boy, he ran over the hose there.
And took the whole air gun with
the
him.
hose with him.
Wow, that's an air wrench laying on the racetrack.
Wow. And it get him on the lead lap. He still got trapped a lap down by the pace car.
And those guys, their hearts are broken now.
And that end of that hose getting ripped out and flying around may have hit this crewman.
Well, here comes the leader.
Wow.
And only 5 cars now can make a pit stop.
So Kurt Busch, the only one who not made a pit stop yet, traps most of the field behind him. What a break that is for him.
Right side's going on. Adjustment back on the right rear. Left sides are up.
And they can take all the time they want.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there are 4 other cars on the lead lap, Bill.
Joe Nemechek just a little bit free, so he came in for 4 tires and 1 round of wedge into the car, followed off pit road by Benson, who came in for 4 tires and fuel. Dave?
Catch back up with Dave in a minute. Jerry Nadeau heading back out onto the racetrack, as is Johnny Benson.
And Joe Nemechek had like 8 laps on those tires when he came in to make that pit stop.
What this is going to set up is there's going to be a whole pile of cars on the tail end of the lead lap.
Yes.
Get the restart situation squared away for you in just a moment. Right now, we're under caution for the 2nd time in the race at Rockingham. We've just gone back to green here at Rockingham. The bubbles are over the leaders. Kurt Busch is the leader. Kenny Wallace is 2nd. Joe Nemechek is 3rd. And there are 8 cars on the tail end of the lead lap in front of them.
Now this, folks, is real racing. Trying to stay in front of that leader, stay on the lead lap.
Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton, Matt Kenseth, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Sterling Marlin, and Tony Stewart are in front of the leader on the tail end of the lead lap, hoping for a quick caution. And look at that 97 car.
And here comes 32, Ricky Craven. He's trying to get up alongside the 97 car.
Kurt Busch, the only one who not pitted under the green when that caution came out for Carl Long getting into the wall.
Craven gets by. Here comes the battle for the lead. Kenny Wallace, the 1 car, and the 97 for the lead.
Kenny Wallace led 64 laps in this thing so far.
And Kenny Wallace takes the lead on the backstretch, coming off 2.
Coming up on halfway here at Rockingham, 197 will be the midway point of the race. Kenny Wallace, your new leader. All of these cars in front of that bright yellow machine want to see the caution flag now. Wanted to be for them. Now remember, some of these cars, like Bobby Labonte and Ward Burton and Dale Jarrett and so on, did not stop for tires under that caution. Their tires are to 10 laps older than these guys they're trying to hold off.
But Tony Stewart was in that position. He was in front of the leader, but he chose to come back in and make another pit stop to go a lap down.
And take the fresh tires.
And take the fresh tires, but we see right now that Tony Stewart is 3 cars in front of the leader, Kenny Wallace.
Third time today, Kenny Wallace has led. Remember, Kenny started on the pole. He's driving the car that Steve Park took to victory lane here in the event back in late February. Let's get some updates from pit road, starting with Matt Yoakum.
Alan, both Kenny Wallace and Kurt Busch looking for their first career Winston Cup victory. I spoke with Kurt Busch and crew chief Ben Leslie. He told me their car normally starts out on the tight side and then moves to the loose side by the end of the run. This last pit stop, they made both an air pressure and track bar adjustment, just trying to find what this 97 car likes. The past 6 races, they've had good cars. They just haven't been able to capitalize on it. To Bill.
Matt, we know that Matt Kenseth has been the bad luck king of late, hoping for good luck today. He was one of the last cars to stop under the green to get tires, so when the caution came out, he stayed out on the track, so he has basically very fresh tires, so one of those guys trying to stay in front of the leader. Matt coming in off back-to-back 4th place finish. Desperately wants to get back to victory lane with just 4 races remaining in the 2001 season. Dave?
Benny asked the question, why did Tony Stewart stop? He'd only been out on his tires for about 5 laps. He had that discussion with his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, and he said, Tony did, that the car was very loose after only those 5 laps. So he came in, pitted, put on 4 tires. Interestingly, he just radioed in, the car's a tick tied off now. Boy, you just can't make these drivers happy. Marty?
Well, Dave, I would tell you all that Jeff Gordon did on his 3 stops, but I don't have that much time. So I'll tell you what he did in chronological alphabetical order. On the first stop, they came in, undid everything they just did the stop before that. Second stop, they came in, and they put a spring rubber in the right front, a little bit bigger than this one. Jeff Gordon said the spring in the right front was too soft. We need to make it harder. The car was very loose. By putting in the spring, they in theory, will be a little bit tighter. On the third stop, they came in and did the shifter ball work that you saw a little bit earlier. Gordon did the work himself with the wrench and did a good job. So far, it's worked for Gordon. He restarted 28, and now he's already up to 26. Alan?
Just past halfway.
Now, earlier we heard the 24 being loose in, and what they did, what Jeff was talking about, the spring being too soft in the right front, what happens is when he goes in the corner, the car rolls over on the right front and kind of falls down and actually helps the car turn better, which makes it loose in. Putting that spring rubber in now made that right front spring stiffer, so it should hold the car up a little bit better, make the car tighter getting into the corner.
There's your leader, Kenny Wallace, working on the back of 13th place Sterling Marlin. You know, a lot of questions about what Kenny Wallace is going to be doing next year. He is substituting for the injured Steve Park in this one car, not knowing how long it's going to be before Steve comes back. What about it, Kenny? What's going to happen next year for you in this Winston Cup level?
I got a lot of great things happening for me right now, and I will be able to tell everybody at Atlanta what I'm going to do. It's just that, you know, when you're dealing with delicate situations like this about what I'm going to do, it just doesn't come overnight, and you just can't talk about it because there's a lot of things involved. So I'm excited about next year, whatever I do, and we'll know at Atlanta for sure.
I tell you, Sterling is doing everything he can right now to stay on that lead lap. He's driving for all he's worth.
Kenny, one of the drivers seeking that elusive first career NASCAR Winston Cup win. Could it be today here at Rockingham? Just past the halfway point of the race, he's in great shape. He's your leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. At Rockingham, North Carolina, it's the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400 live on TNT. Just past the midway point of the race, watching a great fight for the lead. Joe Nemechek trying to take second from Kurt Busch and the lead from Kenny Wallace all at once.
Well, he had Kurt Busch, but Busch has that great runoff too, takes the second spot back. All right, Nemechek's got him this time.
So Joe up to second. Joe has already led 2 different times, total of 60 laps in this one. Started in 13th position. And here he goes. Kenny Wallace spent a long time fighting with Sterling Marlin to try and put him a lap down. Did he use up a little too much in his car too soon?
He probably did, and the worst part about it, he was never able to put the 40 car Marlin a lap down.
It looks like Nemechek's having some trouble getting some bite off the bottom of the corner. If he's going to do something, looks like with the one car, he's going to have to do it staying on the high side.
Ron Hornaday in the Conseco car is in 29th place. He's on the tail end of 1 lap down.
As a matter of fact, Hornaday just moved up and passed Kenny Wallace the last lap. Once again, here's Nemechek. Just can't quite get up that corner well enough.
Means all the racetrack, including the part where Kenny's running.
Yeah.
But he's going to keep trying.
Well, it looks like he's getting in and he's getting through the middle really well, but he's just having a hard time getting off the corner and forward bite you need if you're going to run that low line coming off turn 2 and 4.
Joe Nemechek has run 7 Winston Cup races here at Rockingham. His best finish was a 15th place run this past February. He's never finished on the lead lap here. He's never led at Rockingham until today.
Well, he's trying it one more time. See, the wounded car of Bill Elliott on the bottom of the racetrack should not be a problem.
Now 73 laps down. His Bill Elliott back in 42nd place. Only cars out of the race, Kyle Petty and Carl Long, both involved in crashes that have brought out the day's only 2 cautions.
You're getting off two real good right there, Kenny.
Todd Bodine spent some time behind the wall. He's just come back. He's 37 laps down in 40th place. His car very ill handling all day long. In fact, he got lapped just 36 laps into the race. I'd say very clean race so far today, but if you're a crew chief and you've got to make these calls on when to make these pit stops, it has got to be just stressful.
Oh, it's the hardest. You see your car out there, you know all you got to do is stop, put tires on it. He's going to be much faster.
We'll go back and follow up on a story from the last round of pit stops. We saw Ricky Craven dragging an air hose out of his pits. He came down, then the caution came out. He gets the word, caution's out.
Which would have been fine, but you cannot run over your air hose. That is a penalty.
And it's dangerous. The reason that it's a penalty is because it's dangerous. When he ran over that hose where the fittings came apart, that hose started whipping around in the pit box, and Dave Burns, that was a wild situation.
And the guy who got hit was on the infield side of the wall. He should have been safe. That was Wayne Deloria, the trainer on the 32 team. He catches the right front tire, the old one, when it comes around, and he also gives them the left front tire. Now, the only positive in this is his tackle box. He's the trainer on the team, so he knows where all the pain pills are. He's okay. He's staying in the game.
Fortunate there. And Craven was brought back down pit road for a penalty. Ricky, one of those on the tail end of the lead lap right now. He's in 11th spot. He's just in front of Kenny Wallace and hoping for a caution sometime soon.
Unfortunate for him, he got to take that black flag penalty under the yellow.
Yeah. And still, Joe Nemechek working Kenny Wallace for the lead. Nemechek just can't make his car work well enough down low to complete the pass.
And these two cars have pulled away from the 97 car of Kurt Busch.
That's Kenny Wallace's spotter, Stevie Reeves, talking to him that we heard a minute ago. All right, Joe, try it again.
Yeah. Same result. Let's try it down to turn 1 and 2.
What he's hoping to do is try to get up far enough right there to when they get out the corner, they're even. So maybe he'll have a shot in 3 and 4, but like you said earlier, Alan, he needs that racetrack that one car is using to come off a 2. He just can't get that forward bite.
Matt Yoakum.
Well, Alan, you talked about Stevie Reeves, the spotter on this one team, and that's one of the advantages that you have when you're when you have a spotter who's a former driver, because he knows what the driver's looking for. And he told Kenny that you look very good off of 2. He changed his line going from the bottom to the high side because he is on the tight side. They made a track bar adjustment and overcompensated for a good car. Now it's on the tight side. They're talking about going back up on the track bar on their next stop to Bill Weber.
Well, Matt, Allen was talking about the decisions that the crew chiefs and the car chiefs have to make down here on pit road, and the drivers making decisions on the track. Well, the spotters are doing an outstanding job. For instance, Joe Nemechek's spotter is Shannon McGlamory. He's not only helped him work his way through traffic, but he's told him throughout the day which parts of the track are working better, whether it's high, whether it's low, where the one car is running, what might be the best way to get around him. So while Andy Petrie has encouraged him from the pit box to be patient, Shannon upstairs is telling him the best way to weave his way around the track. There are 3 guys driving that car, not 1.
It's got to run this time off turn 2. Let's see if he can make it stick off 4.
I think he's going to slide up right in front of Kenny Wallace and take the lead away.
Third time today, Joe Nemechek has led.
And here's Ricky Rudd trying to get his lap back.
Rudd, first car lap down in 14th place.
Whoa.
And looks like the Rudd and those guys have worked on that car, and they have that car handling much better than the beginning.
Remember, Ricky, one of the guys that started way in the back. 37th place was where Ricky took the green flag. He's running 14th now, trying to catch leader Joe Nemechek. 168 laps to go here in Rockingham. Joe Nemechek having a great drive. And we talked about this earlier, but it really does apply. You talk about lame duck status. Here's a lame duck driver with a team. He's going someplace else for next year. Team's desperately seeking a sponsor for next year to try and just stay in business.
And it's a good race team. I got to work with these guys at Pocono earlier in the year, and they really have a good race team. And it would be a real shame to see them not get a sponsor and continue with this team, because obviously they've been pretty dominant today, and when they get their act together, tough to beat.
And we've seen just how well that Bobby Labonte's running in the 18 car. Well, Nemechek has come up, passed Bobby Labonte, and put him a lap down.
Not good for Bobby. Ricky Rudd couldn't get his lap back. Check this out. Here are the top 5 in today's race. Exactly 2 career Winston Cup wins between the 5 of them.
Wow, that's pretty strong.
And we showed you earlier, 3 drivers have gotten their first ever Winston Cup win here at Rockingham. Donnie Allison, Mark Martin, and Ward Burton. Robbie Gordon, 31 cars, 2 laps down, about to go 3 as leader Joe Nemechek comes to his inside. Hello.
We're on board with Ron Hornaday in the Conseco Pontiac. Well, he passed Nemechek and Kenny Wallace back about 10 or 15 laps ago, and we see that he's used up most of the good in those tires, and here comes Nemechek about to put him a lap down again.
He's won almost 2 laps down. Here's Hornaday back in 29th spot. And make it 2 full laps down. Our storylines coming into today's race. Jeff Gordon, would he race hard or would he coast? Well, I think he'd like to have raced hard, but the car wasn't under him.
Oh, Jeff Gordon is doing as well as he can right now. He just doesn't have much to go with today.
Gordon back in 24th place, a lap down to the leader. Look at this, loss of up to 14 miles an hour over a 50-lap run.
And it's the surface that causes the tires to lose all that speed.
Benson, Jarrett, and Kenseth have come from the back up into the top 10. Jeff Burton looked like he was going to join him for a while, then his car sort of quit on him.
And he's back in 22nd now, Jeff Burton. There we see Dale Jarrett. He's currently in 7th position.
But again, Jarrett is one of the 8 drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. They were caught having just pitted under the green flag when that last caution came out, Bill, and now he'd sure like to see another yellow flag soon.
He sure would, because that car is running extremely well, Alan. The first run today here at Rockingham, the car was loose, so they made an air pressure adjustment and set the track bar down. So that really made the car come to DJ, and ever since then, the car seems to get better and better lap after lap. And Jarrett is a guy who knows this track very well. In 12 of the last 13 races here, a top 10 finish, and he's a previous winner at the North Carolina Speedway. Matt, Dave?
And Bill, a phrase that Ward Burton has used throughout the season is, when he's not running well, is, "I can't feel the car in the track." Well, he was very quiet for a long time on the radio. He just radioed in a few laps ago, "I am in the track." Ward's car is running well, and he's running up in the high line, which is the line that he preferred to run earlier in the race.
And that, when you're talking about what you can't feel, is he's feeling it through the steering wheel. He wants to be able to feel that car grip.
Kevin
Marty.
Well, these guys have struggled all day big time. The car is tight, and I just asked Kevin Hamlin, how is it? He said tight, and plus we're really slow, so that really helps things out a lot when you're at a racetrack. But down on the track bar for Kevin Harvick this time, it will be 4 tires and a very long stop as Ron Otto has some trouble with the left rear.
Going to be about lap 260 when we see all of the leaders come onto pit road. They last stopped at 179, so an 80-lap window from there. And we're at 246 now. So let's take a break, and we'll be back for the green flag pit stops. Joe Nemechek is your leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back at Rockingham, Joe Nemechek continues to lead, starting to see some people drop onto pit road. Marty.
All those changes for Jeff Gordon, they didn't work out too well. About 5 laps into this run, he said, "I'm dead sideways getting into the corner," and it was like a song. He'd come on about every 10 laps, getting looser, getting looser. Jeff Burton is also on pit road. He said it's pushing like a pig one moment, pushing like a truck the next moment. Not very good for these 2 guys. It was a wedge adjustment for Jeff Gordon and an air pressure adjustment for Jeff Burton.
What did he say?
He said a wedge
like
adjustment.
Pushing like a pig and pushing like a truck?
Yeah, something like that. James Ince, Johnny Benson's crew chief. I was talking to him this morning. He
had several words for it: truck, pig, dog. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
I didn't know.
And some I can't say on television.
I didn't know there was a difference in pushing like a pig and now it's pushing like a truck.
I never heard actually pushing like a pig. I figured it was a Wally word.
Could be.
I like it.
Yeah.
I've used a pig.
I talked to James Ince this morning, Johnny Benson's crew chief, and he said about every crew chief on pit road today at some point during the race is going to have to come on the radio and tell the driver, stop complaining. It's Rockingham. We can't do anything about it.
It's easy for them to say, isn't it,
yeah,
BP?
right.
Get there and slide a 3,600-pound race car around.
Well,
we're going to scream.
You're the one that's buckling those seatbelts.
Yeah, I know.
Now watch how quickly the 99 car leaves the leader on those fresh tires. Bill?
Well, Alan, Ken Schrader was just, explaining that he really wanted to come in and get tires, and the crew chief said, stay out there a little longer, and Schrader said, coming this time. So he's in, he's got fuel, he got his windshield clean, and by the way, his teammate, Johnny Benson, told James Ince just a couple of laps ago, my tires are gone, we're sliding all over the place. He said, that's okay, everybody's tires are gone, they're all sliding all over the place, so just hang on.
I like that.
Attaboy, James.
Yep, I'm coming in now.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Last time Kurt Busch stayed on the racetrack and put a bunch of cars a lap down. Now this time, he's one of the first leaders to hit pit road. Matt, what's going on down there?
Benny, his crew chief, Ben Leslie, told him, don't worry about it. The only thing that will hurt us if we catch a caution while we're on pit road. They will make a four-tire change. He says the car is sliding the nose. He says also it's even more so when he gets on the brakes hard. They made a wedge adjustment. When they told him they were going to do that on the radio, he said, wonderful, that's what I need. The left sides go on, and Kurt Busch is out of the way.
What this does is it gives them two 70-lap runs to the end of the race by stopping here. But they're gambling that the caution doesn't come out.
Well, that's right. And you're right, Alan. I think they went to the end of the race and came back and said, okay, we're going to split this in half, and we're going to have two 70-lap runs.
Matt Kenseth trying to fight to stay on the lead lap from Joe Nemechek. Pit road starting to get busy. Bobby Hamilton, Elliott Sadler, Kevin LePage, Bobby Hamilton Jr. all coming in under the green at lap 256. Marty.
Elliott Sadler's been having a fairly solid run today, Alan. They are tight, and they are getting tighter the longer they run. Having a load of problems on the right front tire there is Elliott Sadler, and they are struggling here this afternoon. Today Burns.
Bobby Hamilton comes in, gets a fresh drink. He also gets a chassis adjustment. Earlier this year, he finished 13th. He finished 9th in this race last year, so Hamilton knows how to run the rock. 4 tires, he is gone.
Still think it might be another 10, 12 laps before we see the leaders in. Bill?
And Robbie Gordon, one of the guys not contending for the win, but on pit road now. He's got 4 tires and fuel, and he goes back on his way as he continues to audition for 2002, Alan.
Robbie Gordon is back in 36th place right now. John Andretti's in. Marty?
Very loose for Andretti, Alan. 2 rounds of wedge into the left side, trying to help him out a little bit. These guys have had a very tough day and a very difficult day for all of Petty Enterprises. Today Burns.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in. Chassis adjustment. It's a track bar. They make that adjustment, go around to the left side. Good stop so far for the 8 crew. And they finish it up, put the car down, and he leaves pit lane.
Good pit stop.
And here comes Bobby Labonte. He has 1 win here, looking for a second. They are going to make an air pressure adjustment and a wedge adjustment on this 18 car. Down 1 pound on all the tires except the right rear. You also saw the wedge adjustment as Jeff Chandler puts on that left front tire. The 17 passes the 18. Let's go to Bill Weber.
And Johnny Benson finally got his wish on pit road for just 4 tires and fuel around to the left side. Benson, a strong run. Had to try and hang on to that lead lap. Now getting ready to head back out.
So Benson rejoins the chase. Nemechek, Kenny Wallace, Jerry Nadeau, Ward Burton, and Dale Jarrett, along with Tony Stewart, those on the lead lap who've not yet stopped. Marty?
Rusty Wallace eases down pit road. Allen, he is running in the 12th position. He was loose before. In fact, they have been loose all day long. Now he's too tight, however. So what they're going to do is take a half pound out of the right front. The car has been pretty good for Rusty, but they have been caught down by track position. They also go down 1 round on the track bar as well. They have 6 top 10s in their last 7 starts here and have a pretty good pit stop going on as well. Today Burns.
On the 22 car, the rear tire changer is also the crew chief. That's Tommy Ball Jr. For Ward, he likes the car. Just 4 tires and fuel on this number 22 car. They're around to the left side. Good pit stop so far, and he peels out away from his pit stall.
Not a bad stop, 15.6.
Ricky Craven. Looks like things went a little smoother that time.
That's because the caution flag didn't come out.
Here comes Tony Stewart off the racetrack onto the pit lane. He moved up to 5th before stopping here. Still got Nemechek, Wallace, Nadeau, and Jarrett out on the track before the cycle of stops will be completed. Stewart's headed for Dave Burns.
And Tony Stewart radioed in that he's a little tight entering the center of the corner and that he needs a little bit more forward bite on the Home Depot Pontiac. Crew goes to work. They're going to make that change with a chassis adjustment, a wrench in the right rear. Also going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel for Tony. A good run so far for the 20 car. Both he and his teammate, Bobby Labonte, have been good here at the Rock. And Tony, another good pit stop by his crew. And the 93 car of Dave Blaney is in earlier. He got too close to the wall when he pitted, and the crew had a really slow stop because they couldn't jack up the left side. He's out this time. The jackman is able to put the full pump on the jack, and he gets the car up. A good pit stop going for Dave Blaney, and he's gone. Marty.
Casey Atwood is here. Remember, they had the great run last week at Phoenix. They led 71 laps. Today has not been so kind to young Casey Atwood. He is very loose, and they get looser the longer they run. They have made several adjustments to this car all day long. None of them have helped Casey Atwood. In front of him, Sterling Marlin slides to a stop. He is running in the 10th position and running pretty well. His crew chief asked him, is the car loose? He said, no. Is it tight? He said, no. He said, we just don't have any grip right now. So they're going to try and help him out with a little bit of an air pressure adjustment for Sterling again, running in the 10th position. These guys have 2 straight finishes out of the top 10. They have fallen from 3rd to 5th in the points. Matt Yoakum.
And Jerry Nadeau makes his way down to his pit stall. I spoke with Gordon Gibbs, the car chief. He told me Jerry's reporting his car is still loose up off the corner. He has lacked forward bite all day today, and they were still talking about what adjustments to make. Looks like it could just be it. Yep, there goes the wedge wrench, air pressure, and a wedge adjustment for Jerry Nadeau in the 25 car. This car he drove to a 2nd place at Dover, hoping to pick up his first win here at the Rock as they have packed that fuel cell full of fuel, and he's out of here. To Bill.
Well, Joe Nemechek finally hits pit road. The crawl down to his pit stop just past the start-finish line. Outstanding run for Nemechek. Once again, this expected to be a 4-tire stop and no changes. Nemechek has been very quiet on the radio. When he has a good car, you won't hear much from him. That's been the case today. Working well with its car owner, working well with its spotter. Nemechek's got his left side tires, making sure they get as much fuel in as possible. He heads down pit road. Now here's Dale Jarrett. Last lap, he almost brushed the wall coming out of turn 4. In fact, I can't see that side of the car, but he may have actually hit the wall. On pit road this time for 4 tires. Jarrett's car has gotten progressively better throughout the day since they made that first pit stop we told you about. You can see some brake smoke there. Dale Jarrett has 4 tires and fuel. He's on his way. We're on our way to Dave.
Ricky Rudd is in. He brings the 28. They're going to wash the windshield. Usually they have tearaways they pull away, but they're going to actually send an extra crew member over to wash the windshield. That's rather unusual. 4 tires and fuel. He'll have to scoot out of there now as we go to Matt.
They took the track bar adjustment from the last stop out of the 1 car because Kenny Wallace said the car got too tight. Eddie Naraki also pulled the tearaway off the windshields to give Kenny a little better visibility. No other adjustments than that.
And the cycle of pit stops is completed. New leader, Kurt Busch. Short pitting. He's been out there faster on those fresher tires than all these guys that waited. Kurt Busch came down pit road at lap 1. Oh, check that. That was the last set of pit stops. Let me flip the page here. He came down at lap 253, and these guys came in 15 laps later.
So that's almost a half lap that he has gained on the leaders. You know, I'll tell you why they washed the windshield on Ricky Rudd's car rather than tearing ripping a tear off. Watch as Ward Burton goes down the front straightaway. And watch as he drives down into the sun. We did this on Jeff Gordon's car just a moment ago. And you see the glare in the racetrack almost disappears. I'm pretty sure on Ricky Rudd's car that they've used all the tearaways that he had. The only thing they can do now is go out and clean the windshield.
And just if you're sitting at home saying, yeah, but you're only allowed 7 men over the wall, it's kind of a standard thing at each race. Somewhere about halfway through, NASCAR allows the teams to send an extra man over the wall, but he's only allowed to service the windshield. Dave?
And as I watched his car, I was looking at it just to see if that was indeed the case. There was one little triangle of red fluorescent tape left on both the top right and top middle of his windshield, indicating there's probably one left. I guess you saved one for the very end of the race.
And I'll tell you one thing, as we watch Ward Burton come through 3 and 4 and go down towards turn 1, those grandstands down in turn 1 are the greatest thing that ever happened to the drivers. Because you see those grandstands, they're blocking the sun somewhat. That really helps.
Didn't used to be that way. Just 7 cars left on the lead lap. Those 5 plus Jerry Nadeau and Ward Burton. Part of the complication of this track when you got guys on different tire speeds, if you will.
And we see Jeff Gordon pitted earlier than these 2 cars we're seeing of Kenny Wallace and Jerry Nadeau. And he is no contest with these cars. With those pressure tires, they just simply drive by.
Now that's a race for 4th position between Kenny Wallace and Jerry Nadeau. Just 6 cars on the lead lap now. Kurt Busch, Johnny Benson, Joe Nemechek, Wallace, Nadeau, and Ward Burton. And that's it. Why? No, that's certainly not your typical NASCAR Winston Cup race, but we've gone so long under the green flag today, and this racetrack surface that just chews on those tires. If your car's handling is not perfect, it's really exaggerated by the tire cheese grater, if you will.
Oh! 3 wide with the leader. Jarrett on the inside, Kevin Harvick on the outside. Both those cars trying to get a lap back, and Busch not being the nice guy and giving him back.
Would be a record low for this season as far as cars finishing on the lead lap if it ends this way. Add 1 to that now, 7 on the lead lap with Dale Jarrett in front of Kurt Busch.
And looks like Tony Stewart's going to be able to come up and pass Kurt Busch and get back on the lead lap. I really like the strategy of Ben Leslie's.
Short pitting.
Short pitting, and okay, they got to make 1 more stop. 70 laps later, they got 70 laps to go. I think that's a very good strategy.
Here's Tony Stewart trying to get back on the lead lap, the 8th place driver.
Boy, Kurt Busch got real loose getting in the corner that time.
The 97 car made his pit stop at lap 253. The 20 car pitted 10 laps later. So Tony's got 10 lap fresher tires than Kurt. Coming up on 300 miles. Here at Rockingham, we'll get to that in another 7 laps. Kurt Busch in search of his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. 100 laps to go here at Rockingham in the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400. Kurt Busch in the 97 car is your leader. The big turning point of this race came back at lap 177. Everybody but Kurt Busch had made a green flag pit stop. The caution came out. It got him the lead. We have now 9 cars who've worked their way back into contention. Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart, the latest to pass the leader and get back on the lead lap. Now, Joe Nemechek has taken 2nd spot away from Johnny Benson, and Nemechek is flying.
Last lap by, he was 3 miles per hour faster than the leader. Talking about Joe Nemechek, he was 3 miles per hour faster than Kurt Busch, the leader. That time he was 2.5 miles per hour faster than the leader. As a matter of fact, the leader, Kurt Busch, is the slowest car of the top 6.
And again, remember, 15 laps difference in age of tires between Kurt Busch and Joe Nemechek.
And he's doing a lot of sliding, a lot of forward bite problems by the looks of it. He got loose there one time, getting into 1 or 2 earlier when there was other cars around him. So he's hanging out a little bit.
Just across 300 miles. So far this season, first time NASCAR Winston Cup winners have happened 4 times. Dale Jarrett back on the lead lap. He passed Kurt Busch a little bit ago. He's in 7th spot now, but he's 18 seconds behind the leader. Kind of in need of a caution. Jarrett started off this season on fire. Scored 4 victories, 3 of them in the opening segment of the season. He took wins at Darlington, the end of March, Texas, Martinsville in mid-April, got another one in New Hampshire in early July, and he hasn't been back to victory lane since. In fact, the second half of the year has kind of looked like a little bit of a struggle, Dale. How about it?
It's just been that we've struggled. You know, we spent the first half of our season with our testing and everything with the bump rubbers, and not to make excuses, but that's what we got, and we knew that with the aerodynamics that the Ford has and the rules that we have, that's what was going to make our car competitive, and we worked on that, and we had it worked out really well. We did everything good at the beginning. When they took those away, it threw us a curve, and we just haven't caught up since then.
Dale referring to bump rubbers, something that was outlawed by NASCAR early part of this season. Teams were no longer allowed to use them.
Well, as a matter of fact, he tested for the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte in May with bump rubbers, and the next week NASCAR said, okay, you can't use them anymore. And that really upset Robert Yates and the team, because they said they wasted the test because they had to go back with something totally foreign to them.
There's the gap from DJ back to the leader, Kurt Busch.
But the gap between Kurt Busch and Joe Nemechek is not too much. There's Nemechek about 6 car lengths behind Kurt Busch.
Now, Wally, you said it was going to take him about 25 laps to catch him, about 12, 13 laps ago?
No, about 18 laps ago.
Oh, you're counting?
So I'm on target. Set you up.
I thought I had you there. Darn. It's still not going to be 25.
Here we go.
No, it isn't.
For the lead, Joe Nemechek on the inside. And with those pressure tires, not much Kurt Busch can do except watch him drive by.
And try and keep his car off the wall.
Yeah.
Well,
right back after him.
Let's see.
Wow. Kurt Busch likes that leading, doesn't he?
Can you blame him?
No, that's a good thing. That leading's a good thing.
Kurt Busch back to second, 4th time today. Joe Nemechek leads, 92 laps to go. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. NASCAR today at Rockingham, North Carolina. The Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400. We're inside the final 100 miles, and let's go through the field. Starting with Joe Nemechek, the race leader. Here's Bill Weber.
And an outstanding run for Joe Nemechek, and you have to know Joe Nemechek to understand how focused he is, not only in a race car, but just walking to it before the race. Now keep that in mind when I tell you a few minutes ago, Joe Nemechek called in, and you could hear the happiness, the excitement in his voice when he talked about how well the car is running. All day long, he has been praising his motor guys, saying he's got tremendous power. They're strong on the long runs. Again, you can't reiterate it enough. The driver's leaving this team, the s***er's going away, and right now, together, they're having a fantastic day, Matt.
Rookie Kurt Busch is not only trying to make a name for himself in Winston Cup, trying to knock down his first Winston Cup victory. He likes this kind of racetrack. Remember, as you see a little bit of overflow coming out of it right there at the corner of the hood.
Water like a sieve.
That's not good.
That is not good, because that's not going to last long. Water coming out of the car like that.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
Oh, man.
That's bad.
What a terrible, terrible break for Kurt Busch.
They had a problem at Darlington, the same, wasn't it?
Southern 500 when they started on the pole.
Pressure is pushing some water.
So that's the story there for second place running Kurt Busch. How about third place Johnny Benson, Bill?
Well, Alan, that's the kind of luck Johnny Benson has had this year. Great runs that have ended in great disappointment. But today, another strong run for the Valvoline team. Benson is loose in. He wants some spoiler put into the car when he pits. They're going to add a ½ pound of air pressure in the right front. Johnny Benson has had some good runs here at the North Carolina Speedway, but they've never ended in victory lane. He'd love to finish there today. Matt?
Eddie Wallace, Bill, is trying to sweep the weekend. He won a Busch race yesterday. He just climbed to third in the Winston Cup car, passing the 10 of Johnny Benson. He's pitting in the same stall, hoping to pick up his first Winston Cup victory. Kevin Bono Mannion, the car chief, told me they have worked the tightness out of this car by backing up on the track bar adjustment they did on the previous stop. Right now, they're formulating a plan for their last stop. Paul Andrews tells me they can go to about lap 365 on fuel if they have to, but a lot of other teams are going to pit earlier, and they've been following what the leaders have done today. Meanwhile, on the 25 of Jerry Nadeau, his car was loose on the last stop. They made an air pressure and wedge adjustment. I spoke to Gordon Gibbs, the car chief. He told me that Jerry has not said a lot on the radio, but he has said the car is better today.
The 22 car of Ward Burton was much better earlier. Ward has radioed in that the car is plowing. Another word for pushing, another word for tight. He can't get it to turn as well in the corners as it used to. I checked with his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, and asked him, did it come to him later in the run last time, or was it always good? He said it was always good. So they're a little concerned right now in the 22 pit. Bill?
Well, Dale Jarrett running in the top 10, not an unusual sight here at Rockingham. We talked about all the strong finishes he's had here. Right now, he says the car is better after they made that last stop. Remember, they did make the adjustment, obviously, because of when they pit it, they are going to try and short pit on their last stop, hoping those fresher tires can get Jarrett a coveted top 5. Dave?
Bill, the best Tony Stewart has finished at Rockingham is 4th. He has done that twice. His car right now is a little bit tight before the stop, but they freed it up just a little bit, and Tony reported that the car was, in fact, freeing up a little better for him to drive, and hopefully faster toward the end of the race. Bill?
Well, Matt Kenseth with another good run. Remember the back-to-back fourth-place finishes at Talladega and at Phoenix. But his car is not as strong on the long runs as they would like. In fact, he has told Robbie Reiser he is loose, and they are going to make a half turn on the track bar when they stop. Once again, this is the team that won the pit crew competition here Saturday. That may be where this race is determined today. Dave?
The 28 car of Ricky Rudd, Bill, has had virtually no radio traffic except from his spotter up above. Ricky has said nothing. Michael McSwain has said nothing, but I did check with Michael to see if the car was all right. He just sort of shrugged his shoulders like it's okay. We're running in the top 10 and trying to get this thing better for the end of the race. As far as the 32 of Ricky Craven, they report that his car is tight. Ricky radioed in that this set of tires does not feel as good as the last one on the 32 car. Let's go to Marty.
Well, Rusty Wallace is the best he's been all day, Dave. Unfortunately, his lap times are really starting to fall off now. They were loose earlier, tight the last run, but this run, Rusty said nothing. And in Rusty's world, that's a good thing, because when Rusty is not happy, he will absolutely tell you about it. They have had 6 top 15s in their last 7 races, and they have gone from 9th to 6th in the points. Currently 13th to Matt Yoakum.
Marty, the 97 car, Kurt Busch, should pit in about 3 laps, but the 18 car, Bobby Labonte, would like to pit now. One problem for Labonte, he has dropped back to 12. He says he feels like maybe a header has cracked because it is so loud in the race car, he cannot hear his crew chief, Jimmy Maycar. He says he feels like the left front tire is wore out. He's going to try to hear. They're trying to get some good communication going here, but trying to figure out what to do on this last stop for Bobby Labonte. To Marty.
Well, Matt Sterling Marlin's been saying the same thing all day long. It's not loose, it's not tight, it just has no grip. Slipping and sliding all over the place is Sterling. He has 2 top 10s in his last 4 races here. He's going to have to do a little work to get in the top 10 today. Currently in 14th is Sterling. I don't know where Jeff Burton has done more work, on the radio or on the track today. He is very upset with the car, and they have been consistent on this last run, but he's still not very happy with it. They are going to make several air pressure adjustments on his pit stop. Jeff Gordon is on pit road. He said, how many laps are left in this race? And his crew chief, Robbie Loomis, told him, he said, that many? I can't believe we've got to go that far in this race. The car is pathetic. Those are Jeff's own words. They are pathetic, and this pit stop not going very well either. They had trouble on the right front for Jeff Gordon. He has struggled all day long. He will win the championship this year, but in his 3 previous championship years, he's won a race at Rockingham. That will not happen in 2001.
It's back to 24th spot before making that pit stop.
And then if the caution flag should come out, that's probably put him back around 30th or 32nd.
3 words for Jeff's day today. Not too good. Leader is Joe Nemechek. 70 laps to go. Should see pit stops, perhaps for Kurt Busch, very, very shortly. Nemechek might be another 15 to 20 laps away. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back at Rockingham, Kurt Busch and Johnny Benson coming off the pit lane after what should be their final stops of this race.
We saw the 97 car of Kurt Busch pushing some water out the car. They did take 1 strip of tape off the grill on that pit stop, trying to cool it down just a little bit. Matt?
Benny, you're exactly right. He came on the radio and said, you're not going to believe it. It's really starting to climb. The water is now 230. Ben Leslie told him to come in. They pulled off that strip of tape, hoping to cool off that engine. No changes on the 97 car. He was a little bit tight in, a little bit loose off, but they were more concerned about the water temperature.
Jerry Nadeau and Rusty Wallace are on pit road, coming in for their final stop. 66 to go, Marty.
Yeah, Alan, I honestly think Rusty is not too bad. What they need at this point is track position and a caution to catch them up to the leaders. The laps have been very good, especially at the beginning of the run. They're trying to make it better on the longer part of the run. He has been loose. They will take a roundabout out of the left side. It will obviously be a 4-tire stop for Rusty Wallace. To Matt Yocum.
Jerry Nadeau slid through his pit. He had to back up. He is very close to the wall. They cannot get the jack around. He's got to pull the car forward so they can try to get this car jacked up. A costly entry for Jerry Nadeau as they finally get the left side tires on, and he's away.
Look at that, 22.7, about 7 seconds longer than you would hope to use for a 4-tire pit stop. About 15 seconds, 22.7. Dave Burns, here comes Blaney.
Blaney comes in. Another good stop for Dave in terms of getting to his pit stall. They will make a track bar adjustment to his car, 1 round down, and then they'll also put on 4 tires and fuel. Marty?
Sterling Marlin is in, running 10th day. They will take 2 rounds of wedge in. Very loose for Sterling. Tony Santanicola, the engine builder, pulls that tearaway away. It'll actually be 2 rounds of wedge out on the left side. That will also tighten him up just a little bit, and he peels off pit road.
So Marlin heads back into the chase. Nemechek, Kenny Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Ward Burton, Tony Stewart. Those are the lead lap cars at this point. As we go through this cycle of pit stops, Dave.
And Alan, they tear away that final tearaway off the left hand of his windshield. 4 tires and fuel. Minor changes for Ricky Rudd.
And here comes the leader. 61 laps to go. Joe Nemechek is on pit road, Bill.
Well, they had to clear some crew guys out of their way. They were using a brush to clear lug nuts off their pit stall. They want to get their attention, so Joe had a good run in here. Keep in mind, this is 4 tires again, no chassis adjustment, plenty of fuel to get to the finish. This car has a strong motor, extremely good on long runs. Looks like they might be a little slow on the left, but no, they got it out. Strong stop. Strong stop. Dale Jarrett now on pit road, having one of his best runs in quite a while. It's 4 tires and fuel for Jarrett. They will make a chassis adjustment. They're taking this car in a direction that's tightening it up each time. Remember, Jarrett enjoyed the ride of the car after the last stop. Left side tires going on. Jarrett's on his way today.
Ward Burton is in. Remember, the car was very, very tight. They will make an air pressure adjustment to handle that. Bill Davis, the car owner, will hand over the second can of fuel to the fueler. Matt?
Kenny Wallace in for his final stop. His best career finish with a second at Talladega following Dale Earnhardt. Now he's hoping to pick up his first win in one of Dale Earnhardt's car. No adjustments on the 1 car, and he's down and away.
Good stop.
Good stop, 15.1, and we saw Jerry Nadeau's at 22.7.
And Kurt Busch back on the pit lane.
Oh, man.
You knew it wasn't going to get any better. Look at the smoke. Ben Leslie, the crew chief, barking out the instructions to Kurt Busch, and you know they'll be going for the hood pins here.
See, the thing just got overheated considerably, and he had no choice. It pushed all the water out of the radiator. And that's just steam. There's no water coming out now. And now we got a fire.
Matt?
There was a fire under the car. You can still see it through the wheel well as they were trying to cool off the 97 car. He came on the radio, so the car is losing power. I think it's out of water. You can see there's still, the fireman is looking inside. They're going to spray their stuff in there to try to put this fire out, but it was starting to ignite big time under that hood of that 97 car, Benny.
Yeah, I think we heard that once before. You know, when he said 230, I didn't think 230 really isn't that bad, but probably what happened is it got to 260 or whatever, pushed the water out. When you push all the water out of the engine, then that temperature gauge starts coming back down because there's no water to measure. So he probably thought, well, we got the tape off, it's probably cooled down, we're okay. But they obviously pushed all the water out of the motor.
There's Jack Roush, the cat in the hat, right behind the hood, talking to Kurt Busch and trying to figure out what happened through the water.
Man, what a heartbreak. So well he ran today. But Winston Cup win #1 for Kurt will not be here in Rockingham. Winston Cup win #2 for Joe Nemechek may well be. He's 5.5 seconds ahead of Johnny Benson and Kenny Wallace. 55 laps to go. 50 laps to go here at Rockingham in the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400. 8 cars on the lead lap. Joe Nemechek is out in front. Johnny Benson, Kenny Wallace, Dale Jarrett, and Jerry Nadeau are the top 5, followed by Matt Kenseth, Ward Burton, and that orange car of Tony Stewart is the last one on the lead lap in 8th place. Rush Hour coming up next on the East and West coasts with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker doing their best Benny Parsons, Wally Dallenbach imitation.
Oh, yeah.
We taught them everything they know.
Super sleuths. You are not. Kurt Busch has to be heartbroken right now, Matt.
Alan, it certainly seemed like rush hour down here on pit road as these guys trying to put out the fire. First off, Kurt, you okay?
Yeah, we're fine. It's just like Jack Roush says, you know, as soon as we get some better equipment, we'll start to run well and put some finishes together. It's real unfortunate. I have to thank the Lord for the great Sandhills region of America because we ran real well here at Darlington. Just having too many mechanical issues putting us too far back in points.
But this is the same kind of problem you had at Darlington when you had a good race car there.
No, that was an alternator going bad, and then we melted the brakes. So it's tough. You know, the Sharp and Rubbermaid guys had awesome pit stops today. We had the yellow come out when we needed it, and that put us on a different pit strategy, and Ben Leslie took advantage of it. So we were coming in, we had our tires, we were looking good for 393. It's just too bad. It's like Jack says, you know, we're just a little shy. It's nobody's fault on the engine today.
It's been a tough year for the Roush commander, Jack Roush, and his armada of cars. Alan?
That thing kept pushing water out like it was on the 22 car. They would have black flagged him eventually. I mean, there's a lot of water coming out of there.
So Kurt Busch goes to the garage, joining Carl Long, Kyle Petty, and now Todd Bodine, who's taken his car behind the wall. 45 laps to go here at Rockingham. Joe Nemechek, the leader here in Rockingham. NASCAR on TNT, bringing you the 33rd race of the 2001 season. And Nemechek has been dominant through its second half. He's out in front now by 8.8 seconds over the new second-place runner. Kenny Wallace just took that position away from Johnny Benson.
Here comes Matt Kenseth. Sneaking up there.
Trying to get back on the lead lap.
Yes, sir.
But as we found out yesterday at Rockingham, the races aren't over till they're over.
Yes. Weren't with us yesterday. Caution led to a red flag with 3 laps to go. The restart came with 1 lap to go. And the guy who was dominating the race ran out of gas on the restart.
But, you know, they had a caution flag. And with 3 laps to go, 9 cars on the lead lap, 8 of them stopped for tires with 2 laps to go. That was the most unbelievable thing. And the leader, Jeff Green, decided to stay on the racetrack and not pit. Well, I don't know where he would have finished. He's not going to win the race with 4 used tires. I don't know where he was going to finish, but he did run out of fuel and finished 9th.
Rusty Wallace was on pit road a minute ago for an unscheduled stop. Marty?
Yeah, Alan, and this is the problem sometimes with racing at Rockingham or racing anywhere really where it's so tight. You can see Rusty Wallace's right rear tire. Pressure in the tire. Here's what happened. The valve stem got knocked out of Rusty Wallace's right rear tire when he made contact. He jumped in there, scrapes all the way around this tire, and the valve stem's gone. Of course, the pressure in the air is going to leak out once that valve stem goes.
Did a good job to keep from crashing then.
Yes. Yep.
So that puts Rusty Back in 23rd place, 3 laps down. Check that, 2 laps down to the leader.
Now, Rusty only took 2 tires when he did come in. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Usually 2 tires doesn't help you out a whole lot here at Rockingham.
Rusty working his way by Dick Trickle, 71 car.
And Stacy Compton, the driver we just talked about that made contact with Rusty Wallace.
Trickle and Compton are actually racing for a spot. That is for 34th place between the two of them. What a clean race this has been. Only 2 caution flags. You know, since they've been running 400-mile races here at Rockingham, the fewest number of cautions we've seen have been 3. No Rockingham race has ever been run caution-free, by the way. But we've only had 2 today. One of them was on the very first lap when Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott crashed. The other caution in the race was back at lap 177. I don't know. Racing with anybody?
No. Did Rusty take care of his itch?
Yeah.
Did he change 2 tires or 4
we haven't
tires?
done that at all, have we?
2.
He continues to reel in the 33. Anywhere from 3 to 5/10 of a second faster.
Who?
The 1 versus the 33.
I mean, Nemechek's problem is the 20.
Exactly. He's stuck in traffic.
Hey guys, Harvick's had a battery problem for a while, so FYI, there you go.
Marty.
Patty.
You owe me dinner.
I told you, ask him first. That's what I was talking about.
Get the chair off all the way.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Hey, if you have the 33 radio and permission to use it, it's been outstanding with Petrie, Coach, and Nemechek.
Yep. Yep. And then if we can document that closing gap with Kenny Wallace and Joe Nemechek. .28 laps to go at Rockingham. Joe Nemechek is your leader next weekend. Our NASCAR coverage moves on to South Florida. Homestead Miami Speedway. Bud Pole qualifying is Friday at 3 Eastern time on CNN Sports Illustrated. Then Saturday we'll have Winston Cup final practice for you on CNNSI at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. The Busch Series season finale is on NBC at 1:30 in the afternoon next Saturday. And then next Sunday, the Pennzoil Freedom 400. Big star-spangled patriotic celebration for Veterans Weekend planned for the pre-race. I'll show you that as well as have live coverage at noon Eastern time. Jeff Gordon could theoretically wrap up the NASCAR Winston Cup title in the race next weekend at Homestead, but he's sure not helping his cause any today. He's running in 26th place. 2 laps down to the race leader. It's been a miserable day for Gordon. And his title rival, Ricky Rudd, 8th place. And 1 lap down.
That's how far that Jeff Gordon's behind Joe Nemechek. Almost 78 seconds.
And the point differential between the two, if the race finishes with them running where they are now, 323. Jeff Gordon, to lock up the title at Homestead, will need to have a 370-point lead or greater at the conclusion of that race next Sunday. So, poor performance today. Probably going to send that one on to Atlanta. We'll see. Rudd could have problems early next weekend. You don't know. And we've still got 24 laps to go here yesterday. At this point in yesterday's Busch Series race, Jeff Green had a romp.
I'll tell you what, Joe is sliding that car all over the place. Right now, these guys are just trying to keep these cars as straight as possible. It's almost like driving in slow motion because the racetrack feels like ice right now. And if you watch through the windshield, you can see Joe's hands moving left to right. He's trying to keep that car pointed in the right direction as much as he can. There's just no grip left in the tires.
Bad news for Joe Nemechek. Second place Kenny Wallace is consistently faster than he lap after lap. Question is there enough time for Kenny to get to him?
Oh, I know what he's doing.
23 laps to go. We're commercial free to the finish after this break. Unless, of course, we get a caution. We've needed one for 2 hours. Well, now that you mention it. Heck, let's make it unanimous. We could have used one during qualifying, too. We got any news things we need to make sure we hit here before we leave the air? We just did the championship.
That driver's meeting
thing.
Still out there. Still out there. Still out there. Clear.
What are you guys talking about the drivers meeting?
We're cool.
They told guys that.
Now, Ward can't see. I think it's getting into turn 1. I was just checking on that now.
Down low on you. Still there.
Okay. They're talking about the thing of having the official check the head restraint and the steering wheel on the car before they roll off.
Check the steering wheel.
Yeah, they have the driver tug on the wheel and make sure it's
clear.
Make sure it's on there. Safety check, whatever you want to call it.
Check to see if the belt's buckled too.
Nope, didn't mention that, Wall.
Yeah, it's coming. Whoa, 14 sideways.
No, Yahoo would be the correct term for this crew. Isn't that right, Mikey? Yahoo!
Still got a comfortable lead.
17 laps to go for Joe Nemechek in search of Winston Cup victory number 2. Driving Andy Petry's 33 car. He's led 179 of the 376 laps that we've run so far today.
And right now, Kenny Wallace was gaining. Kenny Wallace in the 1 car was gaining. And looked like he might catch Nemechek with about 5 laps to go. But now, Nemechek has started to stabilize that lead at about 4.5 seconds.
The two running about identical lap times the last couple of circuits around, both in the 26.3s.
And I tell you, as this race wears on, we're getting near the end of the race. Visibility going in turn 1. We saw it about 45 minutes ago. We're going forward to Ward Burton and see what it looks like now.
Well, that's off of 2 there, BP.
Piece of cake, right?
That's looking good there.
Looking real good. But now you go 3 and 4, right up against that wall. This one, it gets to be a little dicey when you go down in turn 1 and start driving into that setting sun. Where'd the racetrack go? Dave Burns, what do you have to add for us?
Well, Benny, the 22 car Ward Burton, he asked his spotter to call a little bit closer. Tell me when cars are around me, just because he's having trouble seeing now going into turn 1 like that. One problem for Burton, though, is that the car behind him, Tony Stewart, said, hey, who are we racing? And they told him the 22, so Stewart's trying to get through before this is all over.
Stewart running in 7th. Last car on the lead lap. Pretty strong day for Ward Burton. Took the green flag back in 25th place. If he comes up with a 6th place finish, maybe even a top 5, be a good day.
I would think so.
How he keeps from running into the wall, running that thing so high in turn 3 is beyond me. Wouldn't take much of a slip. Exceptionally clean race for Rockingham, a place where slipping and sliding is the norm, and you expect cars to get out from under a driver's control, but only 2 caution flags today. One on the first corner of the first lap when Kyle Petty and Dale Earnhardt Jr. bounced off each other, and Kyle got spun up the racetrack collecting Bill Elliott. Second caution when Carl Long hit the wall at lap 177. That's it.
That's a battle for the position. Sterling Long in the 40 car just passed Ricky Craven to take over the 11th spot.
Both of them 1 lap down. Big turning point in this one, lap 177, when Carl Long bounced off the wall. All of the leaders except Kurt Busch had just been on pit road for green flag stops.
And Joe Nemechek was far enough ahead when he made his pit stop. He was able to make his pit stop and come back on the racetrack and still be in the lead lap with Kurt Busch. And he and 3 other cars able to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, the 5 cars on the lead lap plus 8 on the tail end of the lead lap after the exchange of pit stops, and that
pressure, buddy. No pressure.
Really took a lot of guys' chance to have a good finish out of the mix right there.
Well, these guys right here need a good finish.
Yeah, what a story. Oakwood Homes, the sponsor, telling Andy Petrie earlier this year they needed to get out. Financial pressures on the company. Winston Cup racing was not going to be something they could afford to continue to do. Petrie said, okay, and we'll find us another sponsor. Unfortunately for him, the economy and September 11th and everything that's happened, they have yet to secure that backing for this car for 2002.
And Chris Carey, the crew chief on the 33 car, said, you know, this team is just too good to have to break up now. I mean, we've got something good going now, so we've got to somehow try to keep it together.
Nemechek with only 3 top 10 finishes so far this season. It's been a tough year. Best finish of the season so far, a 6th in the April race at Talladega. Missed 5 races. Dover testing crash left him with some pretty strong injuries. He's recovered. And even though he's getting out of this car at season's end, he's given him everything he had today.
And Rick,
28 get around pretty good. He's only on your tail there right there, okay?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll let the 28 go and not even contest that.
I just let him go on. I just let him go on.
There's no point in racing with someone that's a mile behind you.
Got a 6.4-second lead and gets bigger. Don't worry about it.
Andy Petrie.
Yeah. But the 28 car, Ricky Rudd, is trying to chase down Tony Stewart. That's for position.
Nobody coming from behind.
Andy Petrie got his first win as a Winston Cup team owner at Talladega back in April when Bobby Hamilton took the checkered flag. Remember Petrie running out onto pit road and jumping up on the hood of the car, banging the windshield in celebration. And now 4 laps to go. This is where things turned inside out for Jeff Green yesterday.
Yeah. And if the caution flag should come out, once again, I think we would see the red flag.
Only if it happened right now.
If it happened right now.
Less than 3 laps to go, it's too late. So getting to the start-finish line and not having the yellow come out's big for Nemechek.
Well, he made it.
Yeah.
Coming for 3 to go. Nobody coming.
Going to be a good day for Kenny Wallace. Going to come up with a 2nd place finish. So for that number 1 car, a win and a 2nd at Rockingham in 2 tries this season. Outstanding for them. Johnny Benson running 3rd. Started all the way back in 39th spot. Dale Jarrett, same thing. One of our storylines at the top of the day. Guys starting in the back, finishing in the front. How about Benson and Jarrett? DJ started in 31st.
Joe Nemechek started back in 13th.
Jerry Nadeau going to come up with a top 5 finish. He's running 5th. Looked like that car, the 18 of Bobby Labonte, was going to be a strong contender to win this one. Got up and led 2 times, middle of the race for 33 laps. But in the final laps, the middle section of the race, the handling went away about 2/3 of the way through, and he fell behind. White flag is up. Final lap for Joe Nemechek.
One more time around.
His 250th NASCAR Winston Cup Series start. Victory number 1 came at Loudon, New Hampshire. September 1999. He was driving for Felix Sabates then. And now, November 2001. It's victory number 2.
Go down there. Yeah.
Joe Nemechek wins at Rockingham.
Never believe. Just gotta thank the Lord for a good, safe day, man. Andy, thank you very much. That's unbelievable. Buddy, thank you for our first Cup win.
Andy Petree Racing. First victory for the 33 car. They got one for the 55 back at Talladega. Joe Nemechek led 196 of the 393 laps today.
This could be interesting. Now they just bunch rubber laps. Don't hurt that motor, Joe. That's a good one.
I tell you what, for the more experience he has, he's pretty good at the burnout.
Who's that? His teammate Bobby Hamilton up there to slap hands. 17th different race winner in 2001, Joe Nemechek. We'll talk to him in Victory Lane when we come back. Joe Nemechek decided another round of donuts was in order. You see the haze hanging over the front stretch, and he's still trying to get to Victory Lane. So let's take a look at the results from today's race.
See 9 cars in the lead lap. Bobby Labonte was able to get by Nemechek near the end to finish in the lead lap in a nice spot. Matt Kenseth, the first car, 1 lap down.
Kenny Wallace equaling his career best with another second place finish. Dale Earnhardt Jr. only able to come up with 15th today.
A good run for Bobby Hamilton Jr. finishes in the 17th position.
Disappointing for Jeff Burton in 18th. Looked like Michael Waltrip was going to be okay for a while. Wound up 2 laps down in 21st. And how about the point leader, Jeff Gordon, 25th, while Ricky Rudd came up with an 8th place run.
Kurt Busch, what a terrific run to finish 39th today. He might have been the only car that had a chance of beating Joe Nemechek there at the end.
He led 45 laps. Todd Bodine made about 4 trips back and forth in and out of the garage. Just an ill-handling race car, dropped out near the end. Carl Long and Kyle Petty, 2 drivers out as a result of the only 2 caution flags in this race. Joe Nemechek is the winner, and Chevy congratulates Joe and the number 33 Monte Carlo on a big win today. And he'll tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. Monte Carlo, more champions depend on Chevy. We'll be there. Bill Weber is in the Monte Carlo winner's circle.
And Joe Nemechek is about to celebrate in a shower of Pop Secret popcorn. A career moment.
I thought you weren't going to get here, buddy.
I finally blew out the black tires, but what a day. What a day.
Car owner Andy Petree, congratulations.
Hey, for Oakwood, Chevrolet, all these people that stuck with us, Square D, Andy Petree and all these guys. I wish Andrea, I think she's here on the phone, I wish you and John Hunter and Blair, Mom and Dad were here, man. We miss you, but what a day.
Joe, you had a vicious testing wreck at Dover, put you on the sidelines. You had to fight your way back. You had some disappointing finishes. Now you brought a team to Victory Lane that has lost its sponsor, and you are moving elsewhere next season.
Oh, yes. Yeah, kind of the same scenario as when we were leaving Felix Sabates. And today, I just had an awesome car. You know, we knew in first practice yesterday we were really good, and second practice we weren't so good. And Chris Carey and all these guys, they put it right back together. I got to say, Motor Shop, motor was awesome today. So,
you sang about that all day, didn't you?
I tell you what, it's not their new combination. We're getting ready for that next week, but it ran good. You know, Chevrolet Monte Carlo, awesome race car. You know, it seemed like we took the lead before the first pit stop, and it was just awesome. You know, this is great.
How do you feel? It's your second career win after everything you've been through.
You know, it feels good. Just, you know, you're talking about that wreck, you know, it almost broke my neck in that wreck, and I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get back in a race car, and then to come back and win in the same season. especially here at the Rock. I mean, everybody's slipping and sliding. Goodyear had some great tires today. All the sets were really consistent. I could push them every lap and just stretched it out when we need to go.
All right, they saved you some popcorn. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Joe Nemechek in victory lane, off the bench, into the seat, and into victory lane at Rockingham.